Hello po, good afternoon po. It's 3:30. Magsa-start po tayo sa loob ng 3 minuto po. So, antayin lang po tayo a bit. Maraming salamat po. Okay po. Pwede na po siguro tayong magsimula. Maraming salamat po for joining us. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you po for spending your Thursday afternoon with us. Pakiramdam ko po ay parang nasa isang talk show tayo ngayong hapon. No? Nasa magandang buhay tayo. So mag-hello lang po ako sa lahat ng mga momshi at mga popshi at lahat ng mga carers po na kasama natin ngayong hapon from all over the Philippines. Marami po tayong mga bisita from other parts of the country. Hello din po sa lahat ng mga Team YouTube at Team Zoom. No? Bago po tayo magsimula, if this is the first time you're joining us, very quick reminders lang po. No? So we will be recording this webinar. At sana po okay lang po yan sa inyo para po pwede siyang ma-share no? Sa mga susunod na araw. We're live on YouTube, no? So pwede po kayong mag-imbita ng marami pa nating mga kakilala no? na manood po sa YouTube. Naka-mute po tayo by default, no? Pero pwede po kayong magtanong using the Q&A panel. So this is important po sa lahat ng mga nasa Zoom. Lahat po ng questions natin ay i-direct natin sa Q&A panel para mas madali po namin makita. Yung pong chat ay gamitin po natin for our greetings, no? Or saying hi to our panelists. Sa Team YouTube naman po, yung chat box po dyan, you can use that for all your questions and greetings and all that. Okay. I'm so excited po to be able to present this webinar this afternoon na pinangalanan natin Kalinga sa mga Tagapagkalinga, Parenting in the Time of Remote Learning. Ito po ay dedicated sa lahat ng mga magulang at sa lahat ng mga carers na siguro po ay hihirapan sa mga bagong challenges na kinakaharap no, dahil sa kasalukuyan nating konteksto. I'm so happy po and excited that we are joined by 3 experts for this afternoon. Kasama po natin, magpapakilala rin po sila sa inyo, pero Very quickly po, I'd like to introduce you to Teacher Louise Jamero from Department of Family Life and Child Development. Hi, Teacher Louise.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, sumami ang papakala din po siya. Kasama rin natin si Dr. Lutze-Sol Vidal from the College of Education. Hi, Teacher.
Hi.
And kasama rin natin si Dr. Annalyn Capulong from the Department of Psychology. Hi, Ma'am Lynn. Yeah. As always, kasama pa rin natin si Lo Grepohalo from ILC. Kasama rin natin si Daisy Agaw at si Miss Melody. Mga support staff po natin sila from OAT and ILC. Okay po? Sige. Sana po ay ready na po kayo sa ating magaganap na kwentuhan. Ito po ay isang kwentuhan. We would love to hear your thoughts po. We would love to hear your stories, your questions. Kaya po nandito ang ating tatlong experts para po sa inyong mga concerns. Okay? So, hindi ko na patatagalin pa. Samahan niyo po ako na i-welcome. Ang una pong magsasalita sa atin ay si Teacher Louise Jamero from FLC. Hey, Teacher Louise. Naka-unmute pa po kay Teacher Louise.
Hi, good afternoon. So I'm Teacher Louise Jamero from College of Home Economics, Department of Family Life and Child Development, and I am here to help you today with your concerns. For this semester, I will be teaching family dynamics, infant and toddler program, and also I will be back in preschool for the first time in a couple of years, and I will be teaching the infant development program this coming academic year. Yan. Sana po makatulong talaga kami sa inyo galing sa FLCD sa mga concerns niyo bilang mga teachers and parents at the same time. So here we are. Let's start our presentation for today. Let's talk about being real parents in the time of the pandemic. But we are going to talk about this in stages. I'm going to show you how we are going to be real parents for children from infancy to adolescence. So, hurry. Our word as parents, even before the pandemic. And as a parent, I have caught myself this to all my family members almost all the time. There is an infinite tasks that need to be done. And I think this pandemic has emphasized that or has made that even more real for all families. For career parents, there is always that tug of war between our will to be present parents and the need to do well at work. It is not about striking a balance between home and work life anymore, but it has become more of figuring out how to do well in both. So I call us the everything and everyone parent. And this is our title, our best title for the for this pandemic, the everything and everyone. In the past 6 months, the UP faculty parents have found themselves in limbo on numerous occasions. We needed to be incredibly valuable because we received a bunch of adjustments at work and at home and in the school of our children. Overnight, we became the sole nurturer of our children, the uncertain provider, the 24-hour playmate and friend and classmate, the eternal cook and housekeeper, and the sudden multi-level teacher. Almost all forms of support that we were used to having from our community and from our extended family has been pulled under our feet almost overnight. And we were left with everything in our hands to accomplish all our tasks all at the same time. So ito yung mga nabahagi sa akin ni Sir Ton. And ito rin yung mga nakikita ko sa social media galing sa ating mga UP faculty parents. At ito rin yung mga sinasabi ko bilang isang magulang. Kailangan natin biglang mag-share ng gadgets sa lahat sa bahay kasi lahat tayo remote learning, lahat tayo remote classes. Hindi ko alam sa mga anak ninyo pero yung mga anak ko gutom. Kahit ako laging gutom, Mama, I'm hungry. What are you cooking? Tapos narinig ko na rin yung awat na muna sa course pack kasi may umiiyak ng bulinggit Or bakit parang ako yung naka-enroll? Ito yung susunod sa akin to. May bagong email ulit. Minsan ayoko nang magbukas ng email kasi baka may bagong email na naman. And making time for everyone's remote class. May remote class yung parents, may remote class yung children, tapos lahat sabay-sabay almost the entire day. And one of the things that I'm most concerned about is when my children say, Mama, I'm bored. Or there was this one morning, I woke up and he said, he's scared. And I asked, bakit? Nanaginip ka ba ng nakakatakot? Ang sabi niya, no, Mama, I'm scared because there's nothing to do. And he's so used to going to school so early in the morning that not being able to go to school or do something that he is used to doing was alarming and scary for him at the same time. So what kind of community are we providing for the families of the UP faculty parents or for all teachers for that matter? Anong klaseng community ang binibigay natin sa pamilya nila? I think that the key to success for all parent teachers, let's just call ourselves faculty parents, is in the midst of this chaos lies in the idea that what happens to one family member happens to all. And more bluntly, it means that what happens to the work life of the faculty parents affects the quality of care that they are able to provide their children at home. And the quality of home life that they have also affects their performance in work-related tasks. And this could be true even if they are working from home. Therefore, if we are to support UP faculty parents, asking what kind of community are we providing for their families is very important. What supports have we provided so far to the UP faculty parents who have been bombarded with demands to adjust both at home and at work in the past 6 months? How could we help them become more effective as educators and also as parents? We need to look at the family as a whole and to see it in its entirety. And I think that that is what we have been rallying for in FLCD. We cannot separate the child, or we cannot say we are going to be effective parents if we only focus ourselves on the children. We also need to understand that everything and one in the family affects each other. So today, I am going to try to contribute to our community of teacher parents by giving ideas on how to make sense of real parenting. Not only in the time of pandemic, but real parenting when you have to balance being a teacher and also being a parent at the same time. And real parenting is about parents who are not perfect and parents who are struggling to survive with the ever increasing demands of everyone. And yet, we strive to do right by our children for the sake of our children, even while we are giving our very best at work. So let's begin with my co-parents who have infants and toddlers at home. So I have a toddler right now. So relate na relate po ako dito. Okay. The first thing that comes to mind is, why did we become the UP faculty parent during these infant and toddler years of our children? So for me, it just happened. So for those of you who are like me, how have you been for the past 6 months with your infant and toddlers at home while you were working? A good number of parenting strategies and even parenting books are very child-centered. And those books demand for us to be an adult and act like one 24/7, which is perfectly reasonable because you are parents and you are adults. But with the pressure that we have right now, I believe it would be more realistic and sanity friendly to go for strategies that are more family centered rather than just child centered. The core of our strategy across all the stages that we will present today is that we will treat the family as a whole. Hindi lang para sa bata o kung ano yung mag-work para sa bata, pero kung ano yung mag-work pati sa magulang. Our, our strategies must serve not only the children, but the parents, siblings, and all the members of the household as well. For the infant and toddler years, this stage could be most characterized by these things. Uh, you have a new human being who is beginning to understand his place and value in the family. He will think, this is how I am treated in the family. This is how I am cared for. And maybe it's because I am loved or valued, or maybe it's because I'm important. But this stage could be very demanding for parents because infants and toddlers like to be with you all the time. They're like clingy koalas. And my daughter is like that. And this could be very taxing for primary caregivers to have somebody tugging along with you the entire day. Magsasampay ka pero may dala-dala kang baby. Nagluluto ka pero nakakapit pa rin siya. And the reality is, at some point during the day, we also need breathing space as parents. Hindi naman talaga tayo perfect na lagi tayong nakangiti. And it won't be always possible to give children 24/7 that happy smiling parent. But it is hard to say no when they begin to cry or when they give you that Puss in Boots kind of doe-eyed smile or doe-eyed cry, pleading you, please take me, please carry me. Ang strategy ko, hindi ko tinitingnan. But that doesn't always work. And infants and toddlers also think, what can I do? What can I do by myself? So they like discovering and tinkering with things. And they also like to move and explore all the time. A baby needs to move. And a confined baby will never be a very happy baby. So as caregivers, what do they need from us? They need us to be their constant. They need us to be that one dependable caregiver, or they need at least one dependable caregiver at a time to provide for their needs. And they also need us to start engaging them in a journey of authentic relationships. And I underlined here authentic because authenticity means seeing each other through your ups and downs. It means that you will see your toddler screaming his throat out when he is having a tantrum, but he will also see you as a parent when you feel frustrated or overwhelmed. He will see the reality of who you are in the same manner that you are seeing who he is as an infant and a toddler. You could also help them understand their desires and limits. Okay, I know you want this, but you cannot do this on your own yet. So please let me help you. And also, they need us to give them genuine attention and affection. But dito pa lang, sa umpisa pa lang, I would like to emphasize that genuine affection means giving it at a time when you are, as a caregiver, are capable of it. And in my experience, that is not 24/7 because even if we love them, caregivers also get tired and caregivers also need time to breathe and to relax. And we also need to be given care. And this translates into a strategy which I call shifting care. Shifting care, may ganun na tayo. Okay. So shifting care is for real parents. If you are a real parent of an infant and a toddler, I encourage you to be a real person kind of parent. You cannot have an authentic relationship with your children if you are not authentic as a person to your children. And this does not mean giving them all of your wicked side all day, all the time, just to prove that you are real. This means that you are being true to what you feel at that time. And when we have blow ups as caregivers, which is part of real parenting, of course, we have to do our best to manage our emotions because we are adults. But when this happens, let your child see the whole process. Let them see how you are like when you are upset, when you are frustrated, when you are angry, But more importantly, show them what you could do about it. Let them hear what you are going through, what is difficult or what is challenging. Even babies would understand that. And then let them see how you cool down, how you face the challenge, or help yourself feel better. Second, be their source of calm and comfort when it is their turn to be overwhelmed. And infants and toddlers tend to be overwhelmed all the time. I have experienced having a high need baby, and my daughter has been like that since the day she was born. Talagang nakadikit at talagang kailangan niya ng attention almost all the time. And I could not leave her alone. And she was very different from my son. That's the kind of comfort she needs. So I have to adjust to it as a parent. In the same manner that she has to adjust to me when I am the one feeling overwhelmed. Third, let them move. Um, Before I go, I would like to go back to their source of common comfort for a while, because I would like to emphasize that I do this in shifts with my husband. That's why I call it shifting care. As I said earlier, you could only give genuine affection when you are within that period, when you are capable of it. And since we decided not to hire any childminder or help in the house, we have to do the child minding and the chores in shifts. And the reality is, kailangan natin ng karelyebo. And especially now that we have more pressing demands and more deadlines, hello to September 1, we have to find ourselves, or we at least find ourselves saying, oh, I think I'm going crazy. And sometimes I mumble this, but sometimes I also shout this. Kaya mas kailangan natin ng katulong para maging mas affectionate tayo. Kailangan natin makipagrelebuhan. Kung kailangan sa asawa natin or kailangan sa extended family, whoever can help you, get any help you can. Third, let them move because movement is necessary. If we do not allow space for movement, then the children will feel confined, and the tendency is they will cling to you more and everybody will go crazy. So over the years, here in our house, we freed as much space as we could give to our children. We took out our bed frame so that if they want to jump on the bed or roll off the floor, they will be fine. And the floor for infants and toddlers, or for parents of infants and toddlers, the floor is your best friend. And so we need to free it to make it safe. If you are not comfortable with bare floors, there are a lot of options or mat options. I used to do this, but after a while, I took them one out at a time. I took them out one at a time. And then now I don't have a lot of mats anymore. I almost have no mats anymore. And my toddler is completely fine with it. Nauuntog siya, pero kaya niya. Tatayo siya ulit, maglalaro siya ulit. And lastly, ito po yung pinakamahirap, slow down. Paano tayo magsuslow down? Meron tayong deadline. We have a looming deadline up ahead. And I really find this one really difficult as a parent who is working, because my mind is there at work and then I have to slow down. But slowing down will help you when you are with them. Because if you slow down, you will be able to give real affection and real care. One of the things that I try to do is when I am with them, I take my gadget as far away as I could as possible so that I am not reminded of emails or chats or any form of messages that would remind me that I have a deadline at work, as I am on call at that moment. So that was very helpful for me for slowing down. So to recap, here are some things that infants and toddlers are like, and we have to do something about them as parents. But let them be. And we have to cry it out sometimes, even us parents. And finally, let them move. So ayan, movement. Talagang inaakita nila yung shelves at pwede yan sa bahay namin. Okay. So now let's move to being faculty parents for the early years. Parenting strategies that include the phrase, kasi ganito kami pinalaki, seems to emphasize the idea that what we consider to be good children are those who do not cause trouble. Or those who have unwavering compliance, or those who are indiscriminately obedient. Is control still our goal as parents? Hanggang ngayon ba, control pa rin ang gusto? The reality is, sometimes we could just not help it. It was how we were raised. And this pandemic has presented us a unique opportunity because suddenly we are fearful that children are missing out a lot of their childhood. So my proposal is for us to make our children feel less or feel like they are missing out less because they have us more. And that will take out more effort from us. But by having us at home all the time, they already have a lot more of us than they used to. Because looking back, I don't remember having my kids at home and I'm sure yours. So kahit nababaliw na tayo, that is an advantage to them, especially in their early years. So what are they like in their early childhood? Children need to feel like they are being heard and truly seen. Are you listening to me? They will continue to understand their value, their place with the family when they feel that you are listening for real. Make sure that you are listening when you are talking to them and not just hearing them. They even demand this. It is as if they are checking if we are still there for them. Who am I to the people outside of our home? At around this time, they are also beginning to discover their relationships outside the home. They have extended family and they have also grown into friendships with their peers. In these relationships, they learn more about themselves and they begin to see who they are from the eyes of others. Finally, they see us always. And everything that we do is impressionable for them. And everything that we say, especially in the heat of anger, sticks to them like leeches. So, what do we do about it? As caregivers, it's very important that we offer them secure relations within the family. Kahit makulit ka, kahit angry ka, love kita. And they should know that. They need us to be their charging stations when their world becomes overwhelming for them already. Our family needs to be a safe space for big feelings as well. And this is not only for children. Big feelings, whether they are positive or negative, need to have a place in the family. And this is not just for little ones, but they are also true for parents. We need to show them how we let it out and what to do about it when we're feeling these big feelings. And we need to be for them when it is their turn to feel these big feelings. Next, I would say they need us to be flexible more than they need routines from us, especially now that too many things are changing too often. Flexibility means being able to adapt to changes instead of sticking to a routine because this is your schedule for the day. I tried making routines for our children during this pandemic and it's not going to work. And I also tried doing or making routines for my children before the pandemic. That was still difficult because our days as faculty members are hardly ever the same. There, we wouldn't know what time our meeting will be. We don't know what time we will be home. Will it be early or will we be late for the day? So flexibility offers them a chance to learn how to magsasabi, let us prep because this is good for them all at the same time, I would have to argue that we need to model and show flexibility more than set routines for our children, because that would be more helpful for them and for us at this time. Finally, they need us to make trustworthy decisions this early in life. Trust in our decisions should not be a given. Hindi natin dapat sinasabi, trust me kasi ako yung parent. Hindi tama yun. We need to constantly prove to them that our decisions as parents are trustworthy. And it is not because they are entitled children or that we are spoiling them too much. It is because we want them to trust, we want their trust to be earned. And just as much as how authentic relationships are built. Later on, when they learn that trust needs to be earned, they will carry these standards to their relationships with other people. And this will be very important for you when they move on to their later years. For example, they would learn that trust should not be given automatically just because you tell me you are my friend. So mahalaga na sa atin pa lang bilang magulang nila, naiintindihan na nila na hindi automatic ang pagbibigay ng tiwala. In connection with that, my advice for real parenting in the early childhood years is make today an investment for tomorrow. Make good connections. I find this strategy effective for me as a parent at this current, looking at this stage where we are right now as a preparation for their next stage of development. In reality, I am actually bracing myself for what I think would be my first years as a parent, which is their adolescent years. And that is why when things get challenging for us, I always refer to this idea that I need to make connections today as my investments tomorrow. This was one of the ideas that fuel me when I'm empty. And this was also the concept or the philosophy that I used when I chose to exclusively and directly breastfeed for the last 5 years. Or my laziness to clean pump parts and bottles. Ayoko po talagang maglinis nun. So, but going back, it's about connections, making that connection, because what I make now or how I connect with my children now would be very important later. And I will show that to you later when we have parenting for adolescents. Next is pick the simplest option. So pag tumitingin po kayo sa internet, maghanap nga ako ng activities para sa preschooler ko. Ano kaya yung pwede ko ipagawa sa kanya? And a lot of these activities need heavy preparation or materials that we do not have at home. So I would say make it easy for you. Choose the least complicated option for everything, including children's activities. Instead of complicating them with fads or making something out of what you saw in social media, make the preparation simple so that you could focus more on connecting and observing your children rather than on setting the activity. Nag-set up ka pa lang, pagod ka na. For example, keep water play about playing with water. Hindi yung may latest water play gadget, bibilin yon, tapos yun yung papagamit para lang magkaroon ng water play. Water play is about playing with water. Let them splash, bathe in the rain, swim on the floor, make bubbles, pour. Keep them pouring sa iba-ibang container. That's it. Keep it simple. And I think that water makes all children happy. Naniniwala ko that even the crankiest of children would love to play in water. And finally, make a big deal out of the mundane. Nakakulong po tayong lahat ngayon. Kaya importante, ginagamit natin yung imagination natin para kunwari special yung araw natin. For us, for example, we call snacking together picnics. Kunyari nagpipiknik kami, pero kumakain lang talaga kami ng chichirya. Or we call toasting marshmallows on the stove s'mores. Kahit wala namang ibang parts yung s'mores, yung marshmallow lang. Or magtatali kami ng kumot sa bintana and we will say we are camping. Or magdadrive kami sa pinakamalapit na bilihan ng burger and we will say we are going on an adventure. And making the little things seem big make us feel like our children, actually that's more for us. No, we will make ourselves feel like our children are missing out less because they have a little bit more of us as parents. So here are some things that we do. If you're not comfortable with picture number 1, that's okay. That's not for everyone. But try to make the small things count. If they want color beyond paper, then give them that freedom of expression. Let them play with water, even if it means they have to swim on the floor. And I would like to emphasize actually the last photo being a safe space for big feelings, because this picture is one of the most important pictures in the set when I talk about real parenting. It was this day when I was the one, as a parent, who had big feelings. I was really overwhelmed and upset. And I said, I cannot do this anymore. I need to take a vacation and I want to do this on my own. And this was during the pandemic. So imagination ko lang yung vacation. Now, my son was quiet during that time. And instead of talking, he looked at me and then he went to get his coloring materials and this piece of paper and he started drawing. And then he came to me, teary-eyed, and he said, okay, Mama, here you go. You can go to a vacation by yourself. There you are in the airplane. So ako po yung nasa baba, nakasakay sa pakpak ng airplane. And this is us looking out at the window so that we can see you. And this one made me cry because I realized that on the one hand, I had big feelings and my son just allowed me to express it. And he supported how I would feel better by letting me go to that vacation, even just through a picture. And this also made me realize that I also need to be careful because everything that we say, everything that we hear, as I said earlier, sticks to them like leeches. And this means that it stuck to him that I wanted to go on a vacation. So from time to time now, he asks me, Mama, pupunta ka na ba ng snow? Isasama mo ba kami or iwan kami? And that breaks my heart as a parent because it stuck to him that I wanted to leave and be by myself. But as a real parent, I have to also admit that I miss myself at times. I miss how I was before and I miss how things were. So it is important for us to actually be able to express this, but at the same time, it should be a learning lesson for us, a lesson for us that maybe I need to be a little bit more careful next time. I would like to invite you to look into this particular link. I hope I am not the only one who is familiar with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but I loved his show when I was a child, and this link or this article available online will help you or guide you make simple activities or choosing the simplest option or making sense of the simplest of activities for your children. So baka po mas maintindihan ninyo or mas magkaroon kayo ng ideas how to make activities simple for everyone.
Louise, can you hear me po?
Yes.
Yes, Teacher Louise, okay lang ba kung we pause a bit muna and then we proceed to Teacher Luce and Ma'am Lynn?
Sure.
And then if we have questions po for the middle child and the adolescent, maybe we can do it for the Q&A. If that's
Sure,
okay.
sure. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Teacher Lois. Sige po. So, yes, thank you. So at this point po, we'll talk about parenting learners with special needs. So I'd like to introduce you po to Teacher Luce. Teacher Luce, can you say hi?
Hello po, I'm Teacher Lutze from the SPED area of the College of Education.
Okay po. So would you like to say a few words po before I share your video or?
Go ahead,
Good,
sir.
good.
Go na. Go na.
Sige po. Sige po.
Thank
So,
you.
Gusto ko lang pong i-warn lang po yung mga nakikinig sa atin. Hindi ko po sure how loud the video will be. So baka po pwedeng pakihinaan muna yung volume ninyo and then adjust accordingly na lang po. Okay? So, sige po. I hope you can see the video on the screen. Okay. So here we go. Hello po, sorry. Let me try it again po, ha? Sorry, may nakikita po ba kayo sa screen? Teacher Lucia, can you see the video? Okay na po.
Yes, sir. Okay na.
Okay. I'm sorry. Um,
Good afternoon po. Hello po, ako po si Teacher Lutze from the Special Education Area of the College of Education. First off, nagpapasalamat po ako sa office for the advancement of teaching, lalo na po kay Sir Don Clemente. Dahil po nabigyan pansin ang isang set of parents na meron tayo, no? Yung parents of learners with disabilities or parents of children with disabilities and special needs, no? So, sa hapon pong ito ay i-discuss natin ang 5 C's of parenting. Ito po ay isang collation or parang synthesis po ng lahat ng mga consultations na meron kami with some parents of children with special needs, mga SPED teachers, no, and all of those involved in the caring and teaching, no, of children with disabilities. So, ang 5 C's po na pag-uusapan natin ngayong hapon ay ang carer, yung child, yung context, yung content and strategies, and connection. So, ang carer po, tayo po lahat ito, tayo po mga magulang, no? At iba pa pong mga kasamahan ng bata sa loob ng bahay if you live with the grandparents, for example, or the siblings, kung may kasama kayong kasambahay sa bahay, no? All of these people who are involved in the caring of the child with special needs. And then, of course, the child is the child with special needs. Diagnosed man po or hindi, basta alam po natin na may special needs, or in other words po, even children who have difficulties, no, academic difficulties, behavioral difficulties, kasama po sila sa pag-uusapan natin ngayon. And then we talk about the context or how we prepare the context, no, yung physical environment natin. Yung psychological milieu, no, and emotional milieu na meron sa bahay natin, no. Kasi nga alam natin sa panahon ngayon nag-shift na totally to home, no, ang gagawin teaching and intervention. And speaking of that, we need to talk about content and strategies as well, kasi yun na nga, nadagdagan po ang roles natin, no, bilang magulang. Hindi lang po tayo tagapagkalinga, kasama na rin po tayo sa magtuturo, no, or some of us have even started already. Medyo mahirap siguro, lalo na kapag hindi ka naman sanay, or di ba nga, no, ang iba sa atin, kaya nga we sought the help of teachers or centers or schools, no, who cater to the needs of children with special needs because we want to be helped. No, paano ngayon yan? Wala na sila at mukhang matatagalan pa ito, no? So, I think we need to talk about that as well. And we need to talk how we can be helped, no? So, connection, that means we have to make connections with the people who can actually help us. And so, we talk about the carer. No? Kadalasan po sa College of Education, sa mga webinars na meron kami, hindi po nawawala doon yung self-care and self-love na tinatawag. We always talk about that. And I'm sure sa OAT po na pag-usapan na rin yun. No? Kasi nga, sabi nga, wala po tayong maibibigay kung hindi naman natin mapupuno yung sarili natin. So like this water can, for example, no, how can we be able to share our time, our resources, all our effort, no, na gusto nating gawin for our children with special needs if we ourselves lack that, no? So I think it's very important that we talk about also how we take care of ourselves and how we take care of ourselves first, no? Kasi bago tayo maging teacher, maging parent, unahin muna natin ang sarili natin. And so, yung kadalasan pong mga parents na may special needs, ang sinasabi nila, ito daw po yung naririnig nila from many people, no? In general, ito daw po yung naririnig kapag kausap ang mga magulang, no? Wala tayong magagawa, maging handa na lang tayo. No? But we know how difficult this is for parents and carers of children with special needs, no? Kasi una sa lahat, sanay po ang mga anak natin na nasa center sila or nasa school sila, and that's where intervention or teaching is being done. Ngayon po, sa change na nangyaring ito, I'm sure marami pong mga bata ang nag-change din po ang mga behaviors, naging difficult, no? Marami po kasi, alam niyo naman sila, no? Pagka may konting change na nangyayari, sometimes nga, nag-Christmas break lang, pagbalik, sabi ng teachers, naku, back to zero na naman kami. So how much more sila ngayon, no, na major change ang nangyari. So, minsan, no, pasensya na, but it's easily said than done na maging handa na lang tayo or sabihin na, hindi kaya mo yan, no? I myself cannot even say that na kaya mo yan unless siguro we equip ourselves with the tools that we need for us to be able to be ready, no? Then pwede ko nang sabihin na kaya natin, no? And so as carers, we need to think about ourselves first, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. So to self-love, pasensya na kung cheesy, pero totoo naman, no? I think as parents, as carers, the first thing that we need to do is to be part of the routine. Huwag po natin ipagkaila sa sarili natin ang na may oras din para sa mga bagay na gusto nating gawin. And sometimes even mga bagay na napipilitan tayong gawin. No? So, siguro kung magro-routinize po tayo ng mga anak natin, kasi lagi nating naririnig yun and i-discuss natin yun later on, di kasama din po dapat tayo doon. No? May time for ourselves and time for the things that we want to do. To take care of ourselves physically, emotionally, and mentally. Lagi nating naririnig to. Pero I think for parents of special needs children, ang nangyayari po, mataas po ang feeling of guilt. No? Pag ginagawa na natin yun, laging iniisip natin, kawawa na nga yung anak ko, tas ganito pa akong tamad-tamad ko, ayaw kong gumalaw, hirap na hirap ako dun sa lesson niya, so ayoko na lang magturo. No? Let's not do that to ourselves. Let's be kinder to ourselves, ika nga, no? So don't feel guilty. No, kapag ka may mga gusto ka ring gawin for yourself that doesn't involve caring for your children, it's actually still caring because when you care for yourself, you're actually caring for them as well, no? Kasi nga naman, kung magkasakit ka, kung may mangyari sa'yo, paano na lang sila? So, kung gusto kong mag-K-drama ngayon, dahil yun yung time for that, or gusto kong kumain ng gusto kong kainin sa ngayon, don't feel guilty. No, okay lang 'yan, no? Kasama po talaga 'yan sa dapat pagkalingan niyo rin sa sarili niyo, no? And then we have to verbalize effectively. Lalo na po ang mga nanay, kadalasan po tayo po ang guilty dito, no? Nagnanag or ganun ng ganun, tapos hindi naman, wala namang nangyayari, no? Minsan sinasabi mo, parang may COVID symptoms na yata ako kasi masakit na yung throat ko sa kakasigaw, pero wala pa rin nangyayari. So maybe you should verbalize effectively. By doing that, you gather everybody, have a meeting, make sure that when you say something, it should be towards that specific person, no? And you have to find solutions together, no, on how to go about it, no? And then we also have to be ready to ask for help. But let's do it mindfully. Sometimes kasi lumalabas na nagpaparinig lang tayo. Kahit sa mga tao sa loob ng bahay, no, someone is willing to help you pero wala siyang kakayanan para gawin yon or wala siyang talent para gawin yon. So siguro dapat pag-aralan din natin yung mga tao sa bahay and others also outside of our home who can actually help us. Now, then we go to the child. Kilalanin ng anak, lagi nating naririnig yun. Pero paano ako na may special needs na anak, ilang taon na yata akong kasama ang anak ko, hanggang ngayon hindi ko alam ang behaviors niyan. Pag nag-change ang weather, nag-change din yung behaviors niya. So how can I ever say na kilala ko yung anak ko, no? So siguro, this is the time when we really need to get down on our knees, no, to get to know the different aspects ng anak natin. Kilalanin natin ng panibago kasi nagbago nasa home na naman ngayon ang setting. So kung paano siya sa bahay, i-assess natin ulit, titingnan natin siya ulit, no? So to get enough information about your child, you don't have to get the whole information right now, no? It can just be gradual, no? Paunti-unti as you go along, nadadagdagan po yung knowledge nyo about your children. So first, yung individualized educational plan, I hope meron po yung anak natin ito, no? Tanungin niyo po yung kanya mga SPED teachers and all other teachers, no? Baka meron naman po siyang ganito. This will really be helpful kasi dito po, nakalagay na yung goals, yung terminal goals, pati po yung per quarter, ano po yung dapat na ini-meet na goals, pati yung mga step objectives, nandyan na po lahat. Kahit po lesson plan, kung paano po ituro yun, nandun na rin po yun. So, kailangan na lang siyang i-revise, no? I-modify ng onte kung sakasakali. Ngayon, pag wala pong IEP, the reports from the teachers, the therapists and specialists can be a part of the assessment process, no? Para malaman nyo kung ano yung ilalagay dun sa IEP. Or yung informal assessment using available tools, no? Magpaturo po tayo dun sa mga may alam tungkol sa paggawa ng assessment, no? At this time lalo, no? And even professional assessment, no? But I recommend a psychoeducational assessment, and there's already a tele-assessment for that. Kung clinical lang naman at formal professional assessment yung gusto natin. Kasi ang psychoeducational assessment po, gaya ng tinuturo natin sa special education area, pero informal psychoeducational assessment yung ginagawa ng mga estudyante namin doon. Ito po, comprehensive siya. So, lahat po ng areas, no, ng developmental areas or domains ng bata ay natingnan po, no, at na-assess. And so, therefore, it will be much easier to make an IEP out of it. Okay? Then we talk about the context, no? So, kung ang bata po ay itong plant, ang context po natin ay kung saan siya natin ilalagay, no? Where does the child grow and where does the child develop? And sa panahon ngayon, sabi ko nga, mukhang nag-shift tayo sa home, no? So, ito po yung madalas na naririnig natin. Sabi kasi, no child left behind. So, paano yan? Kailangan talaga mag-turn ako into a teacher for me to be able to teach my child. Kasi kadalasan po, face-to-face ang alam na teaching, no, ng SPED. And so therefore, kailangan kung sinong kasama sa bahay, magiging teacher talaga for the child. And yung bahay, ito-turn ko siya into a classroom. Naririnig natin yun. Paano kung yung anak ko ayaw naman umupo as in a classroom type, no? Or marami akong anak, so kada corner merong classroom na, no? Paano ko ba gagawin ito? And also, naririnig din natin gumawa ng schedule. Lagi nating naririnig yun. Paano kung ayaw sumunod ng anak ko at ayaw namang gawin yung mga nakalagay sa schedule, no? So ito po yung mga konting tulong or tips natin para dyan. For you to be able to contextualize, first, you have to think inclusion. So think, live, and do inclusion. Kasi po, ang inclusion ay isang perspective, no? So kung kadalasan yung mga sa atin po yung mga familiar with inclusion, no? 'Di ba sabi nga natin, kaya natin siya nilalagay sa regular class kasi gusto natin siyang to be with other children, no? To have the same opportunities given to them, no? So sa panahon ngayon, hindi na po kasi available ang schools, no? Nag-close. Walang face-to-face. So what do? We make sure that our home is also inclusive, no? In other words, sa lahat po ng pagkakataon, kung ano man po ang ginagawa natin, we include the child. And we make sure that the child's needs are met, no? Kasi hindi naman po ibig sabihin ng inclusion, lahat ng opportunities na meron for the special needs for the regular na bata or yung batang walang special needs. Ganon din yung ibibigay sa may special needs, no? Paano kung kunyari, deaf or blind, for example, yung child with special needs. Alam nga namang bigyan natin siya ng laptop na wala namang tools whatsoever, no? para matuto siya. Then, hindi naman niya nakikita kung blind siya. No? So probably what we can do is just to make sure that our home is ready for this perspective. No? We have to live it. We have to, kumbaga, isa puso natin siya para isabuhay din natin siya. No? So when we think of inclusion, no, we have to include LWD when we routinize. No? Tama naman po na kailangan talagang may routine or may schedule. And we just have to make sure na synchronize po ang lahat-lahat ng schedules din ng mga tao sa loob ng bahay. No? And alam ko po sa simula, medyo mahirap po yun, no? Lalo na sa mga batang hindi sanay sa changes. No? So what do we do? Sa start po, pwedeng mag-compromise. No? And then after a while, makikita nyo po sa pag-compromise nyo na yon, mas madalas na siyang gumagawa by himself or sumusunod sa schedule, no? And then when that happens, then we know na naging effective po ang pag-establish ng routine, no? And so, speaking of that, siguro ito po yung mga tips na pwede kong i-share sa inyo when establishing the routine. So you ask their help, no? Ask help instead of imposing on them or instead na inuutusan natin. Gawin mo to, gawin mo yan, hindi yan gagawa, no? Most of the time, mas gumagawa sila kung sasabihin mo na tulungan mo nga ako or tulungan mo nga si kuya, no? They like it better when they're together doing the tasks. No? And then you also have to establish a reward consequence system. Siguro, hindi naman kailangan material rewards all the time, no? Pwedeng additional time with the gadgets or additional for example, additional time to rest and sleep or whatever he wants, no, as a reward. Ang importante lang po doon, kapag nagsischedule tayo, wag po natin siyang ilagay na unang-una. Kasi pag nangyari po yun, wala na tayong leverage. Wala po tayong sasabihin na mamaya na yan, di ba? After dinner yan, di ba? Ganun, no? So, mas maganda, ilagay niyo siya after ng isang activity na ayaw niya. Para gawin niya muna yung activity bago yon. Then we talk about consequence, no? Consequence kasi hindi po masyadong effective ang punishment, no? Sa pag-aaral po namin, ang punishment po ay something ng pinapataw po sa kanila. And usually po ito po ay hindi related doon sa pinapagawa, no? For example, gusto mo siyang matapos magsulat and yet ang punishment mo, sit at a corner or stand at a corner. So tuloy, ang ginagawa niya, doon siya nagsulat sa corner. So, hindi po effective masyado yon. Mas maganda po siguro kung yung consequence mo, tatapusin mo yan, kung ayaw mo, nakakainin yung schedule ng reward mo. Kung sino ba naman ang gustong ma-miss yung gadget time niya, no? So, gagawin niya, no? So, yun ang pwede. And then, if it's still difficult, as I've said, compromise. So, pwede sigurong, sige, ako muna, tapos ikaw, no? Or 3 subo ako, tapos 3 subo ikaw, alternate tayo. Okay? Or sa time na to ako, pero next time ikaw naman, no? Or, yun nga, yung pag-establish ng reward system is also compromised by itself. And then, walk the talk. Kadalasan po kasi sa atin, family bonding time na ang nakalagay sa routine, pero nasaan tayo? Nasa banyo naglilinis. Tapos, sige kayo na lang muna. No? So, ang nangyayari, sila na lang din ang nagbanding, hindi ka na rin kasama. So, kung kasama yan sa schedule, kung nasa schedule yan, kasama ka doon dapat, no? Hindi ka nagte-text, hindi ka nag-iisip ng course packs mong hindi pa rin tapos hanggang ngayon, no? Ang presence mo at ang attention mo nandun din sa task. Okay, and of course, consistency is the key, no? Alam ko, hirap talaga ang mga magulang dito, lalo if you live with other people in the house, no? So, ang unang inconsistency sa sarili mo, no? Kasasabi mo lang na no, tapos naawa ka, so binigay mo na naman ulit. Or sometimes, it involves the people around. Mommy said no, tumakbo yung bata. No gadget, tumakbo yung bata kay Lola. Anong sabi ni Lola? Halika dito sa kwarto. Dito ka mag-gadget sa kwarto. Huwag mong sasabihan si Mommy. O, diba? So, anong ending? Ang ending, each time it happens, yung bata, patakbo kay Lola. No? So, pag walang consistency, kahit anong routinize nyo po dyan, walang mangyayari. More of these that I'm talking about, doon po sa video sa YouTube video po na i-share ng OAP later on, no? Mas na-discuss pa po fully. Then we go to content and strategies. Yun na, sabi natin, mukhang magiging teacher na rin tayo. So, ano ba yung ituturo ko, no? Content. And paano ko siya ituturo? Strategies, no? Unfortunately po, marami pong courses ang kasama po dito kung ituturo lang po sa atin, no, dahil sa SPED area po. Ilan yatang courses namin ang dedicated only to this, no. So what I can probably share with you is ito lang muna, no. Ito kasi yung mga madalas na naririnig natin, no, from special needs parents. Anong ituturo ko hindi naman ako SPED teacher, no. Lagi nating naririnig 'yon. I'm sure na nakaka-relate nga po kayo. Pero siguro nga, ang kailangan natin isipin sa panahon na to is to prioritize what to teach. Huwag po natin isipin yung ano yung mga lahat-lahat na kailangan matutunan ng anak ko. Kasi pag ginawa po natin yun, maloloka po tayo sa kaiisip, no? So, let's take it a day at a time. Ano pong maituturo bukas? Siguro a month at a time, a quarter at a time, no? So, wag po tayo magmadali tungkol doon, no? And on academic lessons, ito po yung naririnig natin. Pasensya na po doon sa mga galing po sa math. Kasi po, sabi nila in particular sa math daw applicable to sa mga parents. Ang sabi nila, mas hirap pa ako kaysa sa anak ko, no? Doon sa mga lessons. So, ito po yung pwede kong i-share sa inyo tungkol dyan, no? One is to prioritize what to teach, no? We have to individualize. Ibig sabihin, kailangan po tingnan natin yung needs ng kada bata bago po tayo mag-decide on anything. For example, sa placement, saan po siya natin ilalagay? Kung remote learning na tayo ngayon, ano po ito? Distance, modular ba siya? Kaya ba niya yun? Ano ba siya? Yung online classes ba siya na dating binibigay ng school? Kaya ba niya yun? No? Or ano ba siya? Homeschooling? No? Na merong nag-tutor sa kanya or the parent herself or himself will be the one to teach the child, no? Fortunately, meron po akong alam, kaya lang isa lang siya sa ngayon na ang ginagawa po niya ay nag-a-admit po siya ng children for homeschooling, no? Children with special needs. Pero ang kagandahan sa kanya, instead of the curriculum po ng grade level curriculum, ang ginagamit po ay ang IEP ng bata, no? So that's something that you might probably want to know more about, no? And also, intervention, no? Kailangan malaman din natin anong kind of intervention ang kailangan ng bata at this point. I've heard of some centers who do teletherapy. I also heard of some centers na cocooning program naman ang meron sila. Parang yung teacher goes to the home after swab test and other protocols, syempre. And then, stays sa home with you for the next 14 days or 2 weeks, no? And so doon siya magtuturo para face-to-face, no? Yun lang po, may mga iba't ibang options po kasi yan. Sa curriculum po talaga, IEP po talaga ang ating dapat na meron, no? For us to be able to teach. Kasi ang IEP, as I've said, comprehensive siya, no? Complete siya, no? And kahit tayo po na nasa bahay, naka-contextualize yun sa atin na kung paano natin ituro yung lesson plan, no? Andun na rin yung materials natin and everything, no? And then the strategies have to be individualized as well. We have to make sure na yung strategy na yon applicable talaga doon sa batang may special needs. And hindi po ibig sabihin na kung nag-individualize tayo ay hindi po tayo nag-adhere to inclusion. Actually, individualization is also inclusion because we try to think of ways, no, to address the needs of the child. So to teach, ito lang po ang konting tips ko sa inyo. Prioritize non-academics, especially behavioral, social, before academics because ang mangyayari po, pag inunan niyo po yung behaviors and the child sits better, attends better, listens, and complies better, ang mangyayari po niyan, mas easier po ang pagturo ng academics. And also remember that children who are happier, pag ginagawa nila yung mga task, kasama din yung mga kapatid nila, no, sa loob ng bahay or mga pinsan nila sa loob ng bahay, then they're better at learning that way, no? And then you base the non-academic priorities on the child's chronological age and the academic priorities, base it on the academic or cognitive level. Kaya importante po sanang may assessment yung bata, no? Kasi, for example, kung non-academic priority siya, like, for example, pagtayo ng shoelace, isipin mo, kung ang pagtayo ng shoelace ba para sa isang 10-year-old, kailangan bang matutunan niya? Since hindi naman academic task yun, then the answer is yes. So, kailangan mong ituro yun. Pero such an academic task, for example, such as fractions, adding fractions, for example, o academic yun. at basihan natin ng 10-year-old niyang chronological age, and yet ang kanyang performance level ay nasa 5 years old lang. O paano ngayon yun, di ba? When we do that at pinipilit po natin yung bata, doon po sa level na alam nating dapat level na niya. Pero hindi naman talaga niya academic level. Ang mangyayari po niyan, we create opportunities for the child to bring out the non-positive behaviors. So andyan na po yung lilikot siya, hindi siya makikinig. Yung iba po, nagtatantrums. Yung iba, walk out. Yung iba, wala na talagang nangyari kasi ayaw na lang talagang mag-comply. No? And we practicalize even academic lessons. Bakit hindi na lang po i-incorporate ang adding fractions doon sa baking? No? Or some other tasks like sa pagsayaw, bakit hindi po natin ilagay doon ang pagturo ng shapes and colors, no? So I'm sure there are ways we can think of that. Kung hindi naman, sana po merong tumulong sa atin, lalo na po yung mga SPED backgrounds. Magaling po silang mag-isip ng mga lesson plans na pwede po nating i-incorporate, no, doon po sa mga daily activities natin. You might also want to check out all of these, no, and I've discussed this a little further doon po sa video if you want to know more. Sa link po na ibibigay later on. And then we create connection. Kasi nga, sabi, naririnig natin, it takes a village to raise a child. Pero lagi pong tanong ng mga parents of children with special needs, what does it take to raise a child with special needs? Lang ang para sa child. Yung special needs, country, ba ito, city, country, buong mundo, no? Dahil sa alam natin ang hirap na pinagdadaanan natin. So maybe it's high time that we connect with our children. Yung kanina po akong nakikinig po tayo, isa na pong way yun para makapag-connect sa anak natin. Then we connect with the people around us. Alamin po natin how they can help us. And also the people outside of home, no? Mga SPED teachers, former and current, yung mga regular teachers niya, specialists ninyo, mga therapists po ninyo, no? I think they're in a better position to be able to help you in so many ways, no? And I think ang una pong dapat gawin to raise our children is really to think about ourselves. Ako muna, no? It has to take me. So ako muna ang unang first step, no? I have to initiate, and when I do that, siguro ang maganda pong gawin natin, isipin natin na yung anak natin kagaya din ng ibang anak natin na may needs, no? It just so happens na may additional needs siya. So pag nasimulan po natin doon, we are in a better position to help, no? And so I would like to think siguro kailangan dagdagan ng isa pang C, and that is commitment. When we start committing ourselves, committing our time, committing our effort, no? And in fact, ginawa niyo na po yun ngayon by listening, no? And so, I know po na may future din po, even our children with special needs. So, maraming salamat po sa OAT, kay Teacher Lowe, kay Sam for the illustrations. And I hope that you stay safe and stay well. Ako po si Teacher Lutze. Good afternoon po.
Thank you so much, Teacher Lutze. May binabanggit po si Teacher Lutze kanina na full video of that presentation. So I am sharing po sa chat box yung link. At least dito sa Zoom, shortly po we will share it sa chat box sa YouTube. Okay? So if you're interested po doon sa entire video of that presentation, just please click the link. It's a YouTube video po available in the Office for the Advancement of Teaching YouTube page. Okay po?
Thank you po,
Sige
sir.
po. Salamat po, Teacher Lutze. We just might extend a little bit po dun sa ating promised end time. No? So for now po, I will now turn you over to Dr. Annalyn Capulong. Si Ma'am Lynn naman po will talk about the use of touchscreen at paano natin siya pwedeng ma-maximize. Ito na yung mga tips na pwede niya mabigay sa atin kasi isa po ito sa kanyang research areas. Hi, Ma'am Lynn. Ma'am? Baka kayo ay Hello, ma'am. Ma'am Lynn, can you hear me? Hello? Hello.
Hello?
Hi, Ma'am Lynn. Can you hear me?
Yes, na-reconnect ako. Alam mo naman ang ating mga glitch, but I'm reconnected now.
Okay. Sige.
Sige.
Okay. So would
Okay
you like
na?
to just briefly introduce yourself? Can you see your slides on your screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sige.
Yes.
So, I'll take it away.
Okay,
Sige.
go.
So, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Nagkaroon ng, at least reconnected na ako. So, ako po si Lynn Capulong. I'm a faculty at the Department of Psychology. At ang aking ang pamagat po ng aking presentasyon ay family, game na ba kayo? Screen Sense, Understanding and Managing Children's Online Learning. Magandang tanong to, family, game na ba kayo? Kasi nga with the pandemic and now with viewing children in the new normal as well, we know na isa ito sa mga concern ng pamilya, no? Hindi lang magulang kundi caregivers, na papaano na nga ba, handa na ba na matulungan natin ang mga anak natin, ang mga bata sa online learning. So I'm here to give you some tips, hopefully to empower parents and caregivers. So next slide please. So as I said, the child in the new normal now is kailangan tanggapin natin na ang bata ay walang choice, no? Kung estudyante ang mga ating mga anak, kailangan sila na ngayon ay maging online learning, no? So sa pag-unawa natin kung paano natin sila matutulungan sa online learning nila, siguro gusto ko lang pasadahan, no? Paano ba natin uunawain yung bata, no, sa kabuuan? Kasi minsan we hear questions like, oh, how do you try to develop your children, no? So pero napakalawak pag sinabi mong develop or child development. So gusto ko lang tukuyin ano bang ibig sabihin, especially in child psychology, which is my area, no, na pag sinabing child development. So next slide please. Okay. So the developing child. So gusto ko lang pong tukuyin na pag sinabing child development, tatlong aspeto or domains ang pinag-uusapan natin, no? May physical or biological domain, may cognitive domain, at may socio-emotional domain. So dun, briefly, dun sa physical or biological domain, ibig lang sabihin po, ito yung domain na patungkol sa physical skills, motor skills, height, weight, at even brain development ng bata, kasama po lahat dyan, no? So pagdating naman po doon sa cognitive domain, I think ito po siguro yung nakasentro sa ating topic kasi online classes tayo or online learning. Cognitive domain has something to do with learning, intellectual development, even language, no? At yung mga tinatawag nating executive functioning like thinking, problem solving, decision making. So lahat po iyon ay nasa ilalim ng cognitive domain. At ang pangatlo po ay ang socio-emotional domain. So dalawang component yung nakalagay doon, social and emotional. So patungkol po ito sa development ng social and emotional skills ng mga bata. At kasama na rin dito yung paano sila makisalamuha sa ibang tao and how their personality develops. Okay, next slide please. So ngayon, bilang patungo tayo dun nga sa online learning ng mga bata, tingnan natin paano natin intindihin yung the learning child, no? So how do children learn best? So ideally speaking, prior to the pandemic, majority of the children really go to school, meron talagang traditional classroom setting. So makikita natin dito yung importansya ng face-to-face interaction between the children, the students, and the teachers, no? And then also supposedly using all sense modalities, especially for younger students. Dahil hindi lang visual, auditory, meron ding tactile, meron ding movement, etc. Okay? And then of course, yung last two, the exploration and play, mas matutuko ito lalo na dun sa mga younger students, no? Especially preschoolers, because they learn better if they can explore and through play. So minsan, minemenos natin, ano bang mahal ng bayad sa play? Play lang naman ginagawa. But play is a very good example of the integration of all three domains of development. May physical, merong cognitive, at meron ding socio-emotional. So itong mga ito, ideally, ang importante, no, for the child to learn, no, in the traditional classroom setting. But then, unfortunately, we will try to see ano ba ang mangyayari ngayon na online learning na ang mga bata, ano ang magiging impact ng online learning sa mga bata ngayon na hindi na siya traditional classroom setting. Next slide, please. Okay, so the impact of online learning on children. So, nakita natin na there's really a big shift from the real classroom environment to digital classroom, okay? So, sabi ko nga, so nawawala yung talagang actual, real, face-to-face interaction, no? So, ba't babalikan natin yan? Unahin muna natin yung physical aspect. So, sa physical aspect, alam natin na there would be physical fatigue, no? Yung pag-upo, di ba? Pag-upo, minsan kasama na yung bad posture, pag hindi maayos ang pagkakaupo ng bata. And most especially, I think, ang concern natin yung eye strain, no? Kasi nga, online classes, naka-gadget, naka-computer na. Tapos, pang-relax, computer pa rin, no? So, talagang may issue on the eye strain, okay? And then cognitive aspect, may question tayo yung capacity to absorb information now in the virtual mode. Kasi nga, iba na to, malaking adjustment din ang gagawin ng mga bata, lalo na yung mga younger students, no? Kahit sabihin natin yung mga older students, yung mga teenagers, sabi mo, sanay naman yan na very adept, no, to navigate digitally. But then, iba pa rin ang pinag-uusapan ay online learning, okay? So, kasama dito sa virtual mode, yung risk of multitasking. Sabi, hindi ba maganda yung multitasking kasi para ang dami mong naka-accomplish all at the same time. But in learning, in the psychology of learning, sinasabi na sana focused attention rather than divided attention. So, ano yung nagiging sanhi ng posibleng multitasking? Many distractions, no? Many distractions, kahit na yan virtual mode, lalo na yung mga older students, mga older children natin, ang galing nila, no? Ang galing lumusot pwedeng sumideline, naka-on yung online classes, pero i-off niya yung video, tsaka mute, tapos o-open ang Facebook or kaya ng mga games, so posible na mayroong many distractions. Okay? Next slide, please. So napag-usapan yung physical impact, the cognitive, now the social-emotional aspect. Yung gaya na nabanggit ko kanina, the absence of actual classroom dynamics. Okay, we are devoid of the richness of the actual classroom dynamics happening between students and teachers, and we know that. Kasi kung ako ang teacher online, Zoom, kunwari, I just see the grids, but then I do not actually capture kung sino yung may kailangan, di ba? Na estudyante, kailangan na mas atensyon, so nababawasan yun, no? And then, of course, in the actual traditional classroom environment, we see the actual teacher's guidance, no? And this one in the online learning cannot be really captured in the online classes. In psychology, we have the term scaffolding, yung parang mga, di ba sa construction, meron tayong scaffolding. Ang ibig na sabihin po nito, in the context of learning is a skilled individual is guiding the child to learn. So parang mas mabuti na matuto ang bata, mas mabilis kung merong scaffolding from an individual rather than the child doing it or learning it by himself or by herself. Okay? And then socio-emotionally then, there could be possible scenarios that students can feel frustrated, misunderstood, or misinterpreted, no? I interviewed several parents about this, yung mga magulang na nakasimula na ng online learning, na minsan gahol sa oras, so sasabihin, meron siyang kailangan sabihin kay teacher, time's up na, no? Or may pinagawa, hindi nagawa kasi realistically, hindi mo pwedeng magawa in a short span of time, so the child will feel frustrated. And then, time's up na ang klase, hindi na pwedeng ma-comfort o ma-clarify nung teacher kung ano yung nangyari o kung anong naramdaman nung estudyante. Okay? So, next slide, please. So, yun po yung background, no? Yung child being the learner and also the impact of online classes on the children. But now, let's look at the the part that you are, I think more interested because this is for the parents, no? The role of parents in the online environment. Next slide, please. So if I mentioned a while ago that ano ba yung impact ng online learning sa mga bata, meron din tayong impact of children's online learning on the parents themselves, no? So siguro una, wala na magkakaila na financially hindi po mura, di ba? Dahil kailangan ngayon, dati ayaw mong paggamitin ng gadget ng anak mo, but now you don't have any choice. You need to give a laptop or a desktop computer. Minsan hindi pwede ang tablet. Sabi tablet na lang kasi yun hindi ko masyadong ginagamit. Pero limited ang features o kayang gawin sa tablet. So mahal po. Tapos kung ang anak mo, 2, 3, di ba? That's really financially challenging. Meron ka pang electricity and Wi-Fi, etc. And now if we go more on the psychological, physical and psychological impact, it has been mentioned in the from the two speakers. We know that as parents and caregivers, we really have a lot of roles. We take on multiple roles. May career, di ba? Magulang, anak ka rin, especially if you have aging parents, you have to take care of them as well. Tapos you have to take care of your marriage as well. Tapos meron ka pang financial concerns. So we really take on a lot of multiple roles. And that, sabi ko nga lagi, bago pa man din mag-pandemic, challenging ng mag-parenting, no? How much more now that we are in an extraordinary time, okay? So aside from taking on these multiple roles, we also see that if your child is taking on online classes, yung mga maliliit like early preschoolers o yung mga early part ng elementary, there has to be more parental guidance. Kasi nga, sabi nga, di ba, ng mga memes na bakit parang feeling ko ako yung nag-enroll? Kasi ikaw ang maglalaki, hindi naman sila marunong masyado to navigate that digitally. So, you have to really provide more parental guidance, especially if you have younger children. So ngayon, sasabihin naman ng mga magulang na may older children, ay, mabuti na lang. Mabuti na lang at ako medyo teenager na or early part of elementary na. Nako, kayang-kaya na expert na yan mag-navigate ng gadgets, no? But then, the problem, because they're older, they can navigate better, pero ang galing din nilang mag-multitask, which I said, nako, na sana hindi, no? So maraming sideline, anywhere, everywhere. Tapos pag sinilip mo, ang galing nila mag-minimize ng mga windows para hindi makita ni mommy or ni daddy na meron pala akong Facebook o meron pala akong online game na ginagawa while having online classes. So it's important that parents should monitor the older kids. Okay? At ito yung challenge, no, for dual earners family. Dual earners meaning lang na parehong magulang ang nagtatrabaho. And it's not only the dual earners family. Ibang forma din po ng pamilya tulad ng single parents family. Nagtatrabaho ako, busy ako. So paano na? Kasi sa ibang eskwelahan, lalo na sa mga younger students, the school would really ask the parents to assign a learning partner. No? Some schools, they term it as learning partner. Kailangan pong may mag-guide dun sa anak nyo habang nag-online class. Paano ko gagawin? Nagtatrabaho din ako sa oras na nag-online class sila. So, mag-iisip ka kung sinong alternative na learning parent, no? Na sana capable. But I know it's easier said than done kung kulang ang family members at hindi kayo extended family. But of course, you're lucky if you have extended families, andyan si tito, si tita, or grandparents who could guide the children as learning partners. And last, nabanggit na rin ito, no, ng mga speakers natin, na yung feelings of guilt. Because especially if I'm a working parent, I'm very busy, no, with so many things, taking on multiple roles as well. Tapos parang feeling ko napapabayaan ko anak ko, so I feel guilty, no. So, but then I will address that in a while. No? I'm just saying that these are the impact of online learning on the parents. Okay, next slide, please. So now, I want to. This is the ways, no, finding concrete ways. Kasi minsan sasabihin mo, parents are given very general advice. Oh, just support each other, communicate to your child. But then I want to really give concrete ways that could somehow, sana, no, makatulong para parents can manage their children's online learning. So the first one is the online environment, no. So ito, nothing new but a good reminder. So create a conducive learning environment for the child's online classes. Again, I know it's not easier said than done, especially if yun nga, sabi, anong space, allotted space, ang liit nga ng bahay namin, di ba? 3 anak ko, tas ako din, nang kami mag-asawa, meron ding mga online meetings. But you just have to make 2. Basta may allotted space, kahit maliit na meron siyang corner, and then all the needed materials within reach. And I think that there, the minimize sources of distraction, just try your best effort, di ba? And then, as I said, for younger children, you provide parental guidance and assign kung sino, take turns, di ba yung shifting parents nga, take turns kung sinong pwedeng maging learning partner or guide ng anak mo during his or her online classes. And then for older children, because they can do this by themselves, try to spot check, no, monitor them while they're doing online classes. Sometimes they will assert, no, being teenagers, Mommy, Daddy, hindi ko na kailangan, can you get out of my room o wag mo na akong tingnan kasi alam ko na yung ginagawa. But then, try to, tell them na, I just want to check, di ba? Kung okay yung online classes mo, okay? So you have to also assert yourself that you need to check on them. And then, yung iba nagtatanong, after class ba, kailangan mag-follow through na ako para fresh sa isip ng anak ko. The best way after class is to ensure that your child has time to rest and relax. After the exhausting online classes, wag naman, no? Give them time to relax, give them time to rest so that they become re-energized and refreshed. Okay? So next slide, please. So kung after the online environment, the succeeding numbers are more the offline environment, no? So I think that nabanggit na rin ng mga speakers to, no? Yung routine, no? So kahalagahan ng routine. Because children, giving routine is actually providing a sense of predictability and a sense of security for children, no? So it's important to have a routine. So discuss with your child and write down together his or her routine. I know, masabihin mo, ay, verbal na lang mag-usap, no? But then it's better if you write down because you can print or they can write and draw something pa at the background and then ipaskill sa wall so that there's constant reminders, no? So, and then it's important to let your child be involved. Kaya discuss with your child because they will be empowered also if they participate in the decision-making of what to include in the routine. So, ito lang yung mga suggestions at alam nyo naman siguro yung mga basic, no? Kasi naiisip nyo yan, sabi, ano bang gagawin ko routine? So, basic daily activities including the meal times, the self-help routine, yung paligo, di ba? Brush teeth, mga ganyan, lahat yan, no? You can even include house chores for your children, kahit na maliit, that could build their sense of responsibility. No? And of course, kailan yung online classes, and then kailan mag-aaral, magre-review o gagawa ng homework, at kailan magkakaroon ng time to relax. No? And then sabi ko dito, ideally sana, screen-free activities. Kasi itong reklamo nga na magulang, online classes na, pagod na yung mata, magre-relax, gadget pa rin. No? So ideally, kung hindi nyo mapigil, make sure that you limit. I will mention a bit more on screen time in a while. So, and then don't forget, sabi ng ibang previous speakers, kailangan to have quality time, no, family bonding. So remember, with online classes, we take away the the opportunity for children, your children, to socially interact with their peers. So nawawala yon. So sana magkaroon pa rin ng chance for social interaction during family time or family bonding, no? Whatever you define, no? Wag lang i-define ang family bonding is physically you're together, each of you individually holding a gadget. That's not a meaningful social interaction. There has to be communication, talking, and then whatever activity, pwedeng board games or watching. You can still watch a movie together. Hindi yung isang bata na nanonood lang siya mag-isa. Okay? So, next slide, please. Still offline, no? The offline environment. Nabanggit to kasi nga talagang mauulit-ulit na babanggitin ko. So, ito ang mga kasama sa basic formula, no? For managing parenting. Set simple and manageable house rules. The rules do not have to be very complicated. You need to have rules so you can help your child follow his or her routine, di ba? So itong oras na to, dapat ganitong ginagawa mo. That's part of the house rules, no? And then I think house rules are very important, especially now. I think it's very salient that with the pandemic and then everyone stays at home, ang nagiging fallback ng mga magulang ay to use gadgets to become electronic babysitters, no? Kasi gusto ko magpahinga, gusto ko namang ma-relax muna dahil pagod ako. Pag binigay ko yung gadget ko, ay effective kahit na 3 hours yan, tahimik, no? But then, we have to learn to manage screen time. And I'll show you some recommended screen time for certain ages of children, no? So itong sinasabi dito, pwedeng you set limit, no? Set limit on the time, so 1 hour or 2 hours, no? And then not only the duration, but also monitor the content. Especially if you have younger children na natatakot ka na baka kung saan website makapunta, no? May ibang style na surrender all gadgets at night. By 9 p.m. wala na, okay? So, special attention and special mention to house rules, especially for screen time. Okay, next slide, please. Ito na po yung aking sinasabing recommended screen time. So, but then if you notice, these are only for children below 5 years old, no? So, but then if you have children na sakto ang age range ay pasok po dito, you see that children or infants below 18 months or 1.5 years old, baka po sabihin niyo, American Academy of Pediatrics, meron ba tayong say dyan? Sa US yan. Even if it's not a local result, these recommendations have important implications to our parenting as well. So ito nga, below 1.5 years old, wag na muna pong paggamitin ng digital screen media. Pero sasabihin ni mommy, ni daddy, educational naman ang pinanonood, colors, letters, di ba? So, hindi po ba pwede yon? Ang sinasabi, kahit na po nanonood dyan ng educational, pero below 18 months, it's not beneficial, no? Studies have shown na mas lalo pang they lessen the number of vocabularies of children who watch. So it's not really beneficial. Meaning, anong message para sa mga magulang at caregivers? It's very important that children, especially this age group, develop best through face-to-face live interaction. Except for video chatting, kasi yun interactive. At ngayong pang-pandemic, pagkakataon nito na magkaroon ng social interaction virtually sa grandparents at ibang kamag-anak na hindi nakikita. And then itong 1.5 to 2 years old, sinasabi pwede, pero sana, anong mahalaga? You put premium on parental interaction or parental involvement. So sinasabi, hello, good luck, 1 hour daily. Good luck na lang kasi ang mga anak ko, my goodness, di ba? More than 1 hour po, paano po ang gagawin ko? Well, these are just, recommendations, and then like sabi nga, you need to compromise, especially now that it's in the pandemic. Wag nang masyado ma-high blood, no? But at least the important thing is you try and attempt to monitor consciously. Okay? Next slide, please. At ngayon, dahil sa sinasabi natin na ano yung good media content, yung dapat sana developmentally appropriate. Ang ibig lang sabihin po ng child-directed, yung ginawa para sa bata, no? Tapos ano yung pwedeng app or pwedeng panoorin? Educational, no? Ibig sabihin na education, di ba lahat educational? But we're saying na educational, dapat daw ang definition na there's a clear intent to educate specific concepts, okay? And then sana kung manonood or merong app na gagamitin, sana may socially interactive, whether within the app or may kasamang magulang. At itong sinasabing with active participation, sana kung manonood, yung may active participation ng bata na pwedeng sumagot, diba? May mga ganung palabas, no? Especially for young children. Hindi pwede yung passive viewing alone, no? Kasi ang passive viewing, ang maganda example niya yung nanonood yung isang bata ng YouTuber na naglalaro ng, for example, Minecraft, no? It's very passive. So, sana bawasan or iwasan po natin yun. Next slide, please. So, sa makatuwid, dahil itong discussion ko ay nasa ilalim ng screen time management, no? So, ang sinasabi, ano nga bang pwedeng gawin ng mga magulang? Dahil ngayon na sobrang gamit, no, ng mga bata ang digital media. So, ang ibig lang sabihin ng parental mediation strategies, ang ibig lang po nitong sabihin ay parents find ways, no, to monitor or regulate their children's touchscreen or digital media use. So, ito sa mga pag-aaral, I think ginagawa na natin po yung number 1, restrictive mediation, meaning you restrict duration, pwedeng restrict the content. No? Active mediation is especially applicable for older children. You try to explain to your child, di ba? Ano yung scenario pag gumamit ng internet? Ano yung, if you go out there online, anong pwedeng responsibility mo, no? And how to be careful, no? And avoid risk. Co-use, of course, co-use, you use gadget together with your child. Itong technical safety guidance based on studies, kaunti lang, on my studies, no, konti lang gumagamit. Pero kung techie ka na magulang, you can take advantage of this. You download apps para mag-limit na, di ba, pag after 30 minutes, mag-off na yung gadget. Pwede rin naman na you go to the parental settings and set kung ano yung mga particular websites na pwede lang puntahan ng anak mo. And I think the best one, based on my studies, yung diversionary mediation. Meaning, divert, no? Parents can offer screen-free activities to divert their children's touchscreen use, no? So ano yun? Yun yung chance for family bonding, di ba? Na wag kang mag-gadget, we play together, di ba? We talk together, basta family time or quality time with each other, okay? So yun ang reminder sana sa mga magulang na importante yung diversionary mediation as well. Next slide, please. So, continue lang po natin. Number 4, establish a system of rewards and punishments in managing your child's behavior. I just want to clarify kasi kay Teacher Lutze, she mentioned consequence, no? But then for psychology, we still use the term, no, in learning, we still use the term punishment. Siguro lang po, colloquially, we connotate punishment as something negative kasi punishment, physical, di ba? Corporal punishment. But then there are different kinds of punishments and I think you can still give punishment, no, as a consequence for doing something undesirable, pero hindi kailangang dahas or yung physical or corporal punishment. In my family, in my home, ang usual namin practice is to take away privileges. So meron kang hindi ginawang maganda, so sorry, for one day, you cannot use your gadget. And sabi nga ni Teacher Lutze, naku, big deal sa kanila yung you take away the gadget because they like using it. So if you take away that one, that's already punishment, okay? So in that way, you can still give consequence, but it's not something aversive or negative, okay? So that's very important because if you, and then the rewards, minsan yung mga magulang, nalilimutan nilang magbigay na rewards, puro na lang punishment. So don't forget to give rewards, no, to your children because this will help facilitate motivation. You don't have to make it material always, no? It could be a hug, a praise, or it could be cooking favorite na ulam ng anak nyo or papanoorin mo siya ng favorite niyang show. That's part of the rewards, okay? And then 5, be involved in your with your child's activities, okay? No matter how busy you are, I think don't forget na quality time na lang, no? Na make sure that you know what your child is doing, okay? And then 6, communicate with your child regularly, okay? So it's very important that you should be honest with your children or with your child, no? Kung pagod ka, sabihin mo, no? Sabi nga, naiintindihan ng mga bata, of course, you will explain it in different ways, depende sa age group ng anak mo. But you can be honest if you're tired, if you make mistakes, it's okay to also apologize to your children. So, humanize yourselves, no? When you communicate to your child. Okay? And then, of course, ito, gas-gas na, pero importante, be good role models to your children. Nothing beats that. Okay? Next slide, please. Okay, so ngayon, sasabihin natin, ang daming tips. O sige, concrete ways na yan. But still, I take on many, many roles and then I still really feel overwhelmed, no? But still, I hope that all of us as parents and caregivers will still answer challenge accepted, okay? And I say that at times when parenting seems overwhelming, learn to delegate. Minsan kasi gusto mong superwoman, superman, diba? Na you want to take on everything kasi hindi ka satisfied sa gawa ng iba. Learn to delegate. And delegating means you are willing to share responsibilities, okay? Especially if you live in an extended family, you can do that, no? Communicate with your spouse, your partners, and other family members. So kung hindi yung pudo pasaring, direct communication so that you know that you can take turns, no? O ikaw muna ang maging learning partner, ikaw muna ang mag-review ha, kasi magpapahinga ako. So we take turns, okay? And then, lower your standards on certain things. what I mean is, you try to set priorities. So, sa ibang bagay, okay lang na lower ang standards mo. Like, okay na medyo magulo, na hindi natupi masyado, o ang pagkatupi ng labada hindi maganda, or maalikabok, makalat. Tututukan ko mo yung anak ko sa paggawa ng homework. So, you have to know your priorities. And last would be, practice self-care. No? Part of mental health is to take care of yourself. Because for you to be efficient and loving parents, you need to take care of yourselves. No? So part of that is willing to delegate and to share responsibilities, etc. Okay? So next slide, please. So what are the take-home points? So mahalaga ang parental involvement. Kahit po busy tayo, kailangan try to be involved in your children's lives. Learn to set priorities, 'di ba? Prioritize. Minsan maganda isulat pa. Prioritize kung ano ba yung kailangan yung mas gawin over the others na pwedeng maghintay o pwedeng hindi muna. And then third, practice positive parenting or discipline. You can discipline your child in a loving way, and try aversive punishments, as I mentioned earlier. Okay. Next slide, please. Enforce house rules consistently. Nasabi na rin ito ni Teacher Lutze, no? Consistency is very important, I know. Because for the house rules to be effective, you need to enforce them consistently para alam ng bata na hindi ka sabi ng sabi pero wala namang consequence, no? So if you say now, hindi ka gumawa ng homework, so anong consequence? So you have to do it. But I'm saying na you don't have to do it 100% consistently because we are not perfect. So as long as you're mindful, as long as you're conscious about enforcing the rules, that's okay. And then have a good balance between on-screen and off-screen activities for your children. Okay? So it's very important kasi now parang lopsided na puro on-screen activities. So make sure that you provide screen-free activities or off-screen activities for your children. And then again, I cannot reiterate more the importance of setting good examples to your children. Anak, ba't ka gadget ng gadget, pero ikaw, babad ka sa gadget. Okay? So, you have to be good, to set good examples. No? And I know that even in spite of all these take-home points, you say, ay, ang hirap, parang ang daling sabihin, pero ang hirap gawin kasi ang dami-dami. My plate is so full, no? But I think it's important to remember that let's be kinder to ourselves, okay? Next slide, please. And let's be kinder to ourselves, and let's remember that best effort still counts, no? We may not be perfect in guiding our children's online classes. We may not be perfect in parenting in general, no? We will continue to encounter difficulties, challenges. We will continue to make mistakes. But it's okay that not all things are okay. Because we have to accept the fact that there are many things that are beyond our control. Okay? And then I believe na as long as we continue to exert our best efforts and let nature take its course, we'll be okay. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Lynn. Okay. Sige po. Alam ko po it's past 5 already. We promise you that we'll end by 5. Although pumayag po sina Teacher Luce, Teacher Lois, at saka si Teacher Lynn na to stay with us until around 5:30 to answer your questions. Thank you so much for everything that you shared. So itong webinar po kasi na ito ay isang malaking virtual hug po para sa lahat ng mga magulang na guro din sa mga panahon ngayon. Sa ngayon po, limitado po muna sa isang webinar yung ating show of support. But please know that this is going to be a constant conversation po for us, no, as we continuously find ways to support faculty parents. So siguro po having said that, and thank you po sa Teacher Luce, Lois, and Lynn sa pagsagot ng mga questions ng ating mga attendees dun sa Q&A panel. Siguro while we're waiting for some other questions, yung isang purpose po talaga why we brought you together is that, and I shared this with Teacher Lois nga na parang kailangan ata na merong mga mas konkretong programa or konkretong activities, yung UP, kumbaga, para supportahan yung parents no, during this time. Siguro, alam ko na mahirap to pag-isipan at the moment, no? Pero top of mind, meron ba kayong naiisip na suggestions or na systems in place no, na pwede makatulong sa atin, sa mga magulang, in the context of remote learning? Kasi kung dati, kung may daycare, yung mga offices natin, may mga daycare and all these things, ngayon, we're really left to our own devices. No? So, what concrete suggestions would you give the university kaya to further support faculty parents? Sige, anyone po can start. Sige, ma'am.
Ton, I don't know if this is parang university, how they, but I think kunwari sa department, no, baka makatulong at least the immediate department of the faculty parent, no. Kasi ang isang, kasi I interviewed several parents already in terms of what were their experiences, kasi nagsimula na yung online classes ng mga anak nila, no. Ang isang kwento sa akin when I was interviewing faculty parent was, na-tense nga siya na may learning partner na kailangan na assign do sa anak niya kasi younger elementary, no? So sabi, paano yan? Na-set ko na yung kumbaga, hindi ako pwede kasi may klase ako or what, no? So I was thinking, kung pwede bang, kung posible na ma-adjust yung schedule, nung ililipat yung class or yung ganon, kasi it's very simple but parang it's more for the parents but may consequence yun dun sa online learning ng anak, no? Kung mas considerate or mas kung pwedeng ma-accommodate, no, in the best way na maayos o yung ganyang schedule ng mga faculty parents, lalo na yung nangangailangan ng learning partner, so to speak, we can give support, no, at least at department level. Kasi minsan nangyari, wala kang choice, si yaya or kaya si lola, hindi naman techie, wala namang alam, so walang choice, no, but to ano ba to, kunin na lang kung si yaya na lang muna kaysa sa wala, okay? So yung mga ganon. So sabi ko, naisip ko nga, kung faculty parent, iba yung nature ng trabaho natin kumpara sa ibang nature ng work, no? At least sa atin, we can segmentize, no? We have certain class mga time slots. So pwede mo pang maayos yung pagtutok sa anak mo, diba? So I think that would help, kahit simple.
Naman po, to speak for the parents of children with special needs among the faculty and the reps and everybody actually. I don't think meron po tayong group among us na for special needs parents. Parang wala po akong narinig na meron tayo. Although, ang special education area po, nagpo-provide kami ng mga iba't ibang help nung wala pang pandemic. Sa mga students directly. Pero among us, usually they come to us for consultations, ganun. Pero individually po yun. Wala pong parang masasabing may group or organization of some kind, no? So siguro pwede pong doon magsimula, but I think the initiative should come from the parents themselves, no? Kasi hindi natin alam, baka they belong also to other groups pero hindi po sa university. That way, ang feeling ko naman, mas may intindihan natin ang pinagdadaanan ng isa't isa kasi we're in the same boat, di ba? As compared to probably other groups of parents na pwede namang mag-ask ng help from. Kaya lang, wala silang core stack doon. Dito meron. So baka iba din yung pinagdadaanan natin compared sa kanila. And also, of course, yung special education area, nagtatanggap naman po kami ng mga consultations and then we refer you to people na gusto nyo, na kailangan ninyo, no? And sometimes, well, nasimulan na po namin ito sa aming sa unit lang namin, sa education lang. Meron po kami, yung mga students po ng SPED area, kapag nangangailangan kami ng mga batang i-assess, ng mga batang i-tutor, ng mga bata kung saan kailangan namin for example, for our classes, no? Within the unit din, nagkaroon na kami ng parang ganong system na doon muna kami titingin and then tsaka natitingin outside kung kailangan pa rin. No? So maybe we can extend that, no? Pwede sigurong ganun. I don't know how we would go about it at kung may time tayong gawin yon, no? But maybe pwedeng magsimula as consultation.
Thank you po. Ano po, if ever we will reach out po to your department to help us set this up po.
Sige po, kung tumutulong nga tayo sa labas syempre dito sa atin, unahin muna din natin. Minsan nakakalimutan din natin yun Kala natin ng superheroes dahil UP profs. Pero hindi natin alam, grabe din yung pinagdadaanan. Lalo yung may mga special needs talaga na anak.
Thank you. Teacher Louise would like to add to that po.
Sir Ton, I was trying to answer one of the questions in the Q&A.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry po. Sorry po. Manahuli lang po ako. Yun. What was the question, Sir Ton? Sorry po.
Kung meron po kayong any concrete suggestion po for the university on how we can best help faculty parents po during this time.
Siguro po bilang faculty parent, na-experience ko po sa mga naging chairperson namin na talagang naipadama nila yung suporta. Malaking bagay po talaga na sa department, pinaparamdam nila at pinapakita nila na talagang nauunawaan nila kung ano yung tinuturo din namin. Na sila yung unang nagparamdam sa akin na naiintindihan ko, magulang ka, ano yung kailangan mong tulong. Tuwing binibigyan nila ako ng trabaho o ng assignment or ng committee, laging naka-consider na po yun automatically na they understand that you are a parent first. Hindi po kasi mawawala yun Yes, mahalaga yung trabaho natin bilang faculty members. Pero kung may problema sa bahay, hindi naman po natin masasabi, iwan ka lang sa bahay. Diyan ka muna, tapos papasok lang ako. Hindi po ganun. At lalo na hindi ganun ngayon. So sa tingin ko po, sa UP po, napakahalaga po na on the department level, on the unit level, there's an understanding na merong my life outside of work, but at the same time, you are accountable. So a flexibility in terms of output, pero accountability is really important. So pag sinabi na ito ang assignment mo, talagang there's an expectation there. So, at saka po sa UP talaga, resources. Sasabihin ko po sana kanina pero resources po kasi mahirap po talaga na to split and to manage resources between work and home. And I'm sure lahat po tayo bilang UP faculty members, lalo na po yung mga naging administrators na na-experience na po ninyo yung abonado. Sigurado po ako doon na marami nang nakaramdam nun. And this time, parang humihingi din tayo ng tulong na hindi na namin, hanggang dito lang yung kaya namin ngayon. And we really need to request na for a hand to be reached out and say, these are the resources that we think you need for what we're asking you to do. So I think that's important also na naramdaman natin yun. At talagang mayroon tayong makuhang ganun. Ayun. So pinasok ko na po talaga. No?
Okay lang po. Well, let's just try to go through some of the questions. Meron po kasi dito isang upvoted question from Alice Bungay. Sabi po niya, paano daw i-encourage yung kanyang husband to join in on the workload? Lagi daw sinasabi ni husband ay busy siya at natrabaho daw ng isang nanay ang guidance and teaching. Ano po ba ang sabi niyo po hindi effective ang punishment. So anong consequence kay husband?
Actually, ako po ang i-share ko po dyan. Kung ayaw po niya, di wag, joke. Hindi, kasi, sorry po, okay lang po ako sa mga kids, lalo pa yung special needs. Pero pag adults po na gano'n, mukhang mahirap pong sagutin. Baka pwedeng sagutin po ni Ma'am Shilin.
Okay. Kasi, ano nga ang tanong, yung perspective ng husband, ang sabi po ay,
Ang husband,
so I
Perspective ng
think,
wife.
the very
Ay,
first
ano.
thing you need to do is to have a heart-to-heart discussion with your husband, no? And really, honestly, convey kung ano yung nararamdaman mo. Kasi, we're living in the 21st century, no? I think, sabi ko nga, nagbabago na yung pagtingin natin, no? Hindi lang pagtingin at pag-practice, no, ng mga roles, no, within the family. But then nananatili pa rin na parang hindi pa rin matatanggal talaga, mabubuwag yung stereotype na ang mothers are still the primary caregivers. And then if you are a working mother, good luck sa'yo. Kasi you need to take on, parang pagka you decide to be a working mother, you accept the challenge na above all things, if I'm tired, if I have so many things to do with my work, I should make sure na I will not neglect my mother duties or mother responsibilities, okay?
Correct.
Pero sa mga lalaki, hindi gano'n, sabihin pagod na si daddy, para earning a living for us, so pabayaan mo siya magpahinga. Pero pareho naman kayong gano'n, pero ikaw may added ka, di ba? So I think with an honest communication with your husband, kasi kung ang perspective ng asawa mo mother lang, doon tayo magkakahirapan, sorry to say. So kailangan mo i-convince na it's a dual responsibility, and equal doesn't mean similar, di ba? Or exactly the same. You can do your share in different ways. Sabi nga ni Teacher Lois, yung shifting, di ba? Tama ba, Teacher? Shifting parent.
Opo, shifting parenting.
Oo. And then, di ba, share responsibilities na relievo, ika nga, no? So, in that sense, kahit ano pa man yun, ma-appreciate. So, wag yung parang maliliit na bata, buti pa yung mga, di ba, yung mga preschoolers, lagi silang gusto mag-initiate. So, dapat sana yung mga husbands, no? Yun nga, kung may ganun kayong husband, hindi naman sinasabing lahat ng husband ganun. Kung may ganun na, kailangan to be prompted, kailangan pong i-train na, honey, hindi na kailangan ng prompting, okay? Pag nakita mong lawit na, di ba, hindi na ako makagalaw sa rami ng gawain, come to me and help me, gano'n, di ba? So, kailangan maging sensitive. I think it has to be, honestly communicated, no? Hindi pwedeng puro dabog ka lang o pasaring sa asawa na, ay, pagod na ako, losyang na ako, gano'n.
Verbalize
so,
effectively.
Verbalize talaga. So, kung hindi makuha sa pasaring, which is not effective, no? Do it, verbalize effectively, ika nga ni Teacher Lutze. So, I think...
Dadagdagan ko yan, Ma'am Shilin. Siguro dapat din, sa simula kasi, parang yung sabi ko, pagka nagro-routinize kayo ng mga anak nyo may special needs, mahirap. So, ganun din po sa kanila kasi nga hindi sila sanay. So, pwede siguro ang unang gawin muna kung nahihirapan, compromise. Diba? Parang, ano ang isang bagay na alam mong kaya mo? 'Di ba? Ang yabang mong magsabing magaling ka sa math. Mula ngayon, ikaw muna sa math. Lahat ng mga math, ikaw muna 'yon. 'Di ba? Ang next na after 2 weeks, dadagdag mo na ngayon. 'Di ba? Ang galing mong magganon tungkol sa ganyan. Talent mo pala 'yon. Pues ikaw naman. Siguro pwedeng ganon, no? Sa simula kasi hindi rin sila pwedeng pilitin kahit na kung mag-walk out sila mas maganda. pero hindi nga din sila mapipilit. So siguro mapipilit and then yung magiging regular na natulong na consistent. Kasi some of them pakitang gilas ng ilang siguro and then after that wala na. No? So siguro ganun din ang pwedeng simula sa kanila dahil learning experience din sa kanila to Hindi at ang mahirap sa kanila may perspective na dala yon. Ang perspective ko macho ako. Bakit ako bigla ang ganun? So, syempre, 'di ba, shift muna ng ganung thinking bago mo sila mapasunod. Mapasunod talaga. Bago mo sila ma-encourage.
Tama ka, Teacher Lutze, no? Kasi nga sabi ko nga, coming into the perspective of the husband, kasi rin yan, ano ba yung prior experience ng husbands, no? Na may reklamo ko, may concern ka, no? So, kumbaga kung nahirati sila na ganun, we have to just really, sabi ko nga, being in dev psych, no, developmental psych, learning is lifelong. So may chance naman na maturuan, no, kahit paunti-unti, to be more participative in the home management in the home life.
So dahil dyan, Sir Ton, may next webinar ka. Sila naman
for-
yung target.
Okay, husbands with special needs. Sige.
Wag naman, in general na lang.
In general na lang, okay. May gusto ka idagdag, Teacher Lois?
Sir, ako po sa tingin ko, there's this perspective that yung husband, ang tingin niya, there's a very thick line between the roles. Ang perspective niya sa role niya ay ako yung magtatrabaho, and ang perspective niya sa role ng wife niya ay ikaw yung mag-aalaga.
Mag-aalaga.
And mahirap po natanggalin yung perspective na yun kasi malamang nakalakihan yun ng husband. So, ako naman po, from my end, ang tingin ko po doon, the question really is the wife the nurturer, or is the wife also playing the role of a provider? Because if the wife is also a co-provider, she cannot be the sole nurturer. That's unfair, and that's also impossible.
Yeah.
Sa tingin ko po, there's that perspective, but I think we should also consider that natanungin, do you have that, did you decide that division of labor or roles when you got married? Kasi kung gano'n na yung napag-desisyonan nyo noon, then isang malaking compromise talaga para dun sa husband yung mag-shift to a nurturing role. Kasi baka noon gano'n na talaga yung setup nila. But I also agree that the wife should verbalize. Kasi kahit sabihin mo naman na I'm playing the role of the nurturer, sabi ko nga, we cannot give affection, genuine affection, 24/7. That's impossible, and that's real parenting. So if I need a break, could you take over even just for an hour? I know that this is not your role, but I need this for my role. So maybe if we put it that way, maybe he wouldn't feel like parang he's playing something or he's doing something that he is not meant to do. So yun po yung perspective.
Sige po. So, kung okay lang po sa inyo, siguro last 2 questions po, and maybe we can have some quick responses po for this kasi yung isang question na cover nyo na naman po. So mukhang, thank you po sa lahat naman nag-share sa chat, no? Pero mukhang common pa rin talaga yung experience of guilt. A lot of parents feel guilty that they might not be doing enough, or that they're not as focused because they also have to finish their course packs, or they have so many things on their mind. No? So, meron po ba kayong, I guess, a quick message for all parents who feel guilty, especially during this time po?
Okay.
Sige.
I think first and foremost, it's normal to feel guilty because of all the multiple roles that we take on as parents, caregivers. So I think the very first one is sige, to recognize that we have that feeling, no? And then after that, so what now, no? So I think as after being aware na sige, you feel guilt and all, I think we have, sabi ko nga, you have to be kinder to yourself, no? You cannot be perfect na, di ba? Ideally, I want to be there majority of my time for my children, no? But that's not the reality, no? Pwede sabihin mo, you can just be more realistic in terms of your expectations, no, for yourself, no? Na sorry, ito lang ang kaya ko, at I could delegate, or di ba? I could ask I read something na paano yung single parent families, no? So, ang kagandahan sa atin, pag single parent family ka, pwedeng sana, no, kung merong extended family, pwedeng maging additional support sa atin, no? Yung kapatid mo, yung sa tita-tito of the children or the grandparents could act, no, as other sources of caregiving, no? So yun nga. So I think kasi meron din ako makausap na mas lalong may feelings of guilt pa nga dun sa mga single parents kasi parang buti pa yung mga dual earners or yung dual 'di ba na families. Meron kang kaagapay na pag ako meron akong karelyebo, no? Pero ngayon single pa, 'di ba? Ako na nagtatrabaho. So paano pa yung quality time ko? Pero sana nga somehow, no, may mahanap po tayo kung kayo ay galing sa single parent families na may mahanap kayo na additional support, no? Na magsisilbing kaagapay nyo para mapunan. So ang point ko, okay mag-guilty, pero let's move on. you just set your realistic expectations and then try to just, sabi ko nga, it's always best effort, di ba? Pag best effort, yun eh, wala ka na, ano pa, pigain man ako, ito lang ang mabibigay ko. So best effort, and in the end, yung sabi ko nga, let nature and even chance take their course, di ba? And then, we can, I think we can get by with that.
Sige po. Teacher Luce?
Okay, yung sa akin, yung sa guilt ng mga parents with special needs.
Yes po.
Kasi may mga feedback ako galing sa kanila na parang triple ang guilt, no? Kasi alam nila na ang daming needs tapos hindi nila masagot lahat. So ang una ko po talagang isa-suggest sa inyo, tanggapin niyo po 'yun. Talagang meron pong mga needs na hindi niyo po, kahit sidar na kayo, hindi niyo po kayang i-address 'yun. So, tama po si Ma'am Shilin, humingi po ng tulong kasi marami pong pwedeng tumulong sa inyo. Lalo na po sa panahon ngayon, hindi ko alam kung bakit biglang, diba, ang community, ang daming talagang tulong na pwedeng maibigay. Virtual nga lang halos lahat, pero I feel na mas grabe, mas nararamdaman ko yung tulong ngayon compared sa before. Baka kasi may traffic, kasi kung before gusto mong tumulong, malayo, matraffic, yung gano'n. Ngayon, parang mas accessible pa ang tulong, no? So that's one. And number two, tanggapin din po natin na may mga iba pa po tayong priorities, may ibang anak po kayo, hindi po lahat ng attention nyo kailangan nandoon sa may special needs nyong anak. In the spirit of inclusion, dapat nga po, hindi po siya nagsa-stand out or hindi po yung needs lang po niya lahat. Siguro po doon sa part na yon talagang magigilty po kayo kapag later on you find out na may mga feeling of, may mga angst po yung mga anak ninyo at may mga masamang loob sa inyo kasi yung special needs nilang kapatid, nandun na lang lahat ng focus ninyo. So siguro, sabi nga ni, di ba, Teacher Lois, we move as a family. Kasi pag ganun po, lahat ng needs natin nasasagot all at the same time. Even though, sang nakita ko rin yung may single mom families. Kanina may nakita akong isang comment tungkol doon. I am also a single mom. Pero ang feeling ko, ang isang advantage noon ay wala pong problema sa consistency kasi nag-iisa kayo. So, when it comes to putting out yung best po para dun sa mga anak ninyo, wala pong kokontra. Na yun yung talagang parang literal na advantage niyan. And at the same time po, nahihingan yun ng tulong yung mga tao around you, especially your own children. So parang sa akin, ang easy pong humingi ng tulong sa kanila na, anak, di ko na talaga kaya to, naman, no? And they do it. Sila ang gumagawa. Ang setup sa buong bahay ko, sila gumagawa. They get more cooperative and more collaborative. They have activities na sila din ang nag-isip kung ano ang gagawin. Minsan ako na lang yung hindi nakakasali kasi hindi ko na-relate yung mga but I say it, no? So, in other words, hindi po kailangang ma-feel guilty kung alam nyo naman na best foot forward naman talaga ginagawa nyo. And during the times na hindi po, edi aminin nyo po, pagod na ako, may sakit ako, gusto ko mag-K-drama, wag niyo muna akong pakialaman, pwede naman, di ba? So, siguro yun nga, applicable po siya kahit po sa parents with special needs, kahit na special needs children. Kahit alam ko po na sa atin medyo, di ba, parang double time ang kailangan gawin, no? Pero sa panahon na to, wag po, relax lang po tayo. Hindi naman po ito hindi po kawalan sa mga anak nating may special needs. Kung sabi ni Teacher Lois, we slow down, no? Wala pong need para mag-rush. May panahon po para sa lahat, no? And if this is the time na hindi lang muna lay back tayo, wag muna natin isipin kung kailan matuto yung anak kong magbasa, kailan magsusulat. Hayaan niyo po muna yun. Hindi naman po siguro kailangan yan during pandemic. Baka pwede pong mas intindihin natin paano niya alagaan ang sarili niya, maghugas ng kamay ng maayos, makapagbilang hanggang 20 para tama yung hand washing. 'Di ba? Baka yun ang mas kailangan na priority, no? So, prioritize and don't feel guilty. Smile. Okay lang yun.
Ba yun? Nakakaiyak naman yung mga sinasabi.
Ayun na naman si Sir Ton.
Teacher Lois. Sige po, baka final words na po from Teacher Lois and then we can wrap this up na po kasi baka meron pang kailangan magsaing, magsampay ng labada, iniwan muna, or baka family bonding time na nila ng 6 p.m. Yun pa ang schedule.
Oh, maingay na nga sa labas eh.
We won't keep you pa for long, but siguro Teacher Lois, last response na lang po about the idea of guilt po.
Sir Ton, salamat po sa paalala sa labada. Naiiwan ko pa siya sa labas. Kukunin ko po pagkatapos nito. Pero po sa guilt, malaking lesson po yan para sa akin. Kasi maraming beses na po akong nag-try to say, hindi po muna ako mag-work para sa mga anak ko. Kasi guilting, tinuturo ko po, tapos hindi ko nagagawa. Kasi nag-work ako. So, isa po sa mga natutunan ko sa dati naming dean na hindi po ako pinayagan mag-give up. Bawal daw po talaga mag-give up, sabi ni Dean Yoyit. Isa po sa malalaking lessons na sinabi niya sa akin is, do not let your children see your guilt. Yun. Sa lahat po ng sinabi niya sa akin, yun yung pinakamahalaga. Kasi isa po sa mga nararamdaman natin yan madalas. Pero by not letting our children see or feel our guilt, kasi wala naman dapat nakaka-guilty sa ginagawa natin. We are trying our best to be good role models as professionals. And sooner or later, they would need us to be that way. So nung sinabi yun sa akin ni Dean, ang naisip ko po talaga doon, ang hirap hindi mag-guilty. Pero kung para ito makita niya, na para ito rin naman sa kanya, at para maging modelo ko sa kanya, then susubukan kong hindi mag-quit. So hindi po talaga niya ako pinayagan mag-quit at hanggang ngayon po nagbe-benefit ako sa lesson na yun. Kaya naniniwala po ako na do not let your children feel your guilt. Yan.
Maraming. Yes,
Sorry, I just have to add. Kasi si Teacher Lois, smaller kids, no? I don't know yung kids mo, Teacher Lutze, pero ako, parang sabi ko, naitawid ko, no? Kasi my children are 15 years old and 11 years old. And we didn't have any yayas, driver, ako di yaya, lahat wala kami. Parang sabi, pang US nga daw ang mode namin kasi walang yaya, walang driver, wala kaming kasambahay, no? Stay in na kasambahay. Pero ang sabi ko nga, naitawid ko. Alam ko na hindi pa adult sa mga anak ko, but naitawid ko, especially yung really the more taxing and more challenging part of parenting, yung maliliit kasi really heavy childcare and tutok, no? But then I know that maitatawid mo na yun nga, yung mga sinabi natin, we'll get by, no? Lalo na, so be thankful kung may yaya ka o meron kang kasambahay, wag masyado magreklamo. Kasi nga wala ko. So, count your blessings, no? And then, focus on the things that you have and be thankful for that. I think that would help, no? Every day if you appreciate what you have. Tapos makakaraos din, no? We'll really get by. I just want to share. Thank you.
Thank you po. Gusto po namin ipaalam sa inyo na nakikita ko po yung mga messages niyo po sa chat that hindi sabi ko po kay Teacher Lucci, may nag-email kami. Sabi ko, Teacher Lucci, niya ako sa video mo. Sabi, hindi naman ako magulang. So, hindi po ako magulang. Pero sabi nga niya, dahil teacher ka, parang meron ka na rin ganyang role. Pero ang gusto ko lang po talagang sabihin ay sa lahat po ng mga magulang at caregivers na nanonood nito ay na hindi po kayo nag-iisa and we feel you po and that is the main reason why, inabala po natin ang bongga sina Ma'am Shilin, Ma'am Shilois at si Ma'am Shiluce para po maiparamdam po sa atin na we are all in this together po. So, kung kailangan niyo na po umalis or meron pa pong ibang mga tasks na kailangan gawin, maraming salamat po for joining us. At maraming salamat po na hindi po kayo bumitaw. This has been quite a long webinar already. Thank you po for staying. Pati sa YouTube po, may nanonood po sa atin sa YouTube. So, reminder lang po na bukas meron po ulit tayong isa pang webinar entitled Naitawid, What We Learned about remote learning during the mid-year. So, 3:30 to 5 din po yan about remote learning experiences po. But, I don't know po, kayo po, Teacher Lutze, Lois, and Lynn, would you like to stay a little bit? Just in case they
Meron
have...
pa ba tayo?
Ako okay lang kasi may mga nakikita akong questions tsaka may humihingi pa ng virtual hug sa chat. So, okay lang ako to stay a little longer.
Sige po, kahit 15 minutes. Actually, our attendees po can ask the questions live so we can just give them permission to talk.
Yes.
Yeah, o para mas easy.
Mas
Ang hirap
mabilis kasi.
mag-type.
Yes po.
Type po.
Matagal. So, kahit po siguro, maybe at least 15 more minutes in case lang they have other questions.
But those who want to leave can leave na,
Yes,
no?
yes po po. Yes po. In case po you want to leave, thank you po for joining
Thank you
us.
po. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you syempre kay Lo at saka kay Daisy for joining us.
Yes po. Thank you ILC. Thank you Oat.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, ayun po. Yan, lagot kayo, dami yung pinaiyak. Sabi
Oo nga, dami na iyak.
kayo.
Buti naman, at least hindi sa course pack umiyak ka na.
Ito nga nakalagay.
Umiyak din pala siya sa course pack. Sir Pedro, umiyak din siya sa course packs. Pero, at least
Ito
this
good
time,
cry daw to.
good cry daw.
Okay po. So in case po meron po gusto magtanong sa inyo po ng live, no, just please raise your hand. Use the raise hand function po.
Ton, meron lang akong nabasa doon na parang paano nga daw gagawin doon sa mga teenager na ayaw matindang online class.
Yes, please.
So, I think it's related to, sabi ko nga, if you establish the house rules, no, and then practice yung ating reward, consequence, or punishment system. I think, kasi ako as a parent, I realized that sabi ko, ano ba to? Psychologist pero tao lang, di ba? Kasi minsan parang either pagod ka or para sabihin mo, meron nga akong set rules, di ba? Pero alam ng anak ko na it's all, bark but no bite, so to speak. Kasi sabi, hindi ka gumawa ng house chores mo, or hindi ka gumawa ng homework mo, hindi ka nakinig doon sa online class, pero anong consequence? Wala. Di bukas, gagawin ko lang uli yun, di ba? So, kailangan talaga, merong concrete na consequence. And you don't have to be harsh. You can, ang favorite ko nga na is to deprive privileges. Di ba? Mas ramdam nila yung privilege nyo. Kasi minsan yung iba nga na who advocate na dapat hindi, no, ng physical punishment, wala mas maganda yung talagang there's a consequence, a concrete consequence, and especially deprive privileges. Pag sinabi mo, gagawin mo. Tsaka dapat realistic kasi sabihin, anak, isang buwan ka talagang walang gadget, promise, kasi yung ginawa mo
Bukas
talagang
bigay mo na.
pero mamaya lang, buti nga bukas mamaya-maya, di ba, nakalusot na. Sabi, tingnan mo, isang buwan daw isang oras lang okay na kay mami. So kailangan you establish your credibility, di ba? Na pag merong hindi maganda, talaga, di ba? Kailangan may consequence. And I mean business, because this is also for your own good. Okay? Kasi I think yun ang kaya minsan sabi ko, ano ba sila? Selected deafness? Kasi tatawagin mo, di ba? Maraming kwentong ganyan. Tinatawag mo, mahina ba yung yung tawag ko? Ang lakas-lakas na, pero sabi, bakit nagbibingi-bingihan? Kasi busy sa sa gadget, di ba? Wala namang consequence kung hindi ka sagutin, di ba? Parang yung litid mo, nakalabas na, ayaw pang sumagot. Sabi, ilan ba yung anak ko na ganito pangalan? Yun nga sabi mo, di ba, Teacher Lucia? So, I think, it's alam ko it's easier said than done kasi yung consistency, no? But then try. Best effort, di ba? Na dapat may consequence talaga. Para alam nila na they have to do something na kailangan nilang gawin, lalo na yung mga ganyan na undesirable behaviors.
Napakahirap maging magulang.
So you just have to be creative kung paano gagawin.
Meron po tayong tanong actually sa...
Kanina, sorry, may isa kanina sa chat na hindi ko na naabutan kasi parang biglang nagdumami. May isang mommy nagtatanong siya, yung parang ayaw talaga ng anak niya dun sa online. Ano ba yun? Nasaan na ba yun?
Baka yun anong gagawin? Yun na ba yung teach?
Oo. Basta yung mommy, kapag kunyari po, parang dati nyo pa pong na-experience yon sa anak ninyo, na hindi talaga siya compliant, or di kaya po ay nahihirapan po talaga siya dun sa subjects. Lalo na po kapag ganun po yung rason. And then, paulit-ulit po siya, nagre-recur po kahit na nagbigay na kayo ng intervention or whatever. Baka high time na po na gusto nyo pong ipa-assess. Kasi ang assessment po, hindi po ibig sabihin na right away na ang anak nyo ay special na. Kaya po tayo nag-a-assess kasi gusto din nating malaman kung may problema ba or wala. Kasi po, minsan kapag ayaw nilang mag-comply sa academic task, ang unang-unang rason po dyan ay hindi nila kaya. So tayo naman po yung pilit, hala sige, pilit ng pilit, hindi, dapat ganun. Tapos hindi naman pala talaga kaya. So how do we know that kung hindi naman siya na-assess? So mas maganda po may comprehensive na assessment para malaman din natin where it comes from. Is it coming from the difficulties? Difficulty ba ito sa academics kaya nagre-react siya that way? Or is it just the change? Nag-change lang kasi ang lahat ngayon kaya kasama nun, nag-change din yung behaviors niya. So fleeting lang, after a while okay na naman siya. Dahil ang hirap pong mag-recommend ng dapat niyong gawin kung hindi ko din po alam kung ano po, saan po nanggaling. Kasi most of the time po, ang mga recommendations natin, galing po siya doon sa dapat po towards the root of the problem. Hindi lang po yung surface na non-compliant siya. Usually that doesn't work po. Kasi ang pwede mo lang gawin dyan, di kausapin mo, mag-reward punishment, sabi nga ni mommy, gano'n. Pero paano po kung may delays pala siya, kaya siya nagre-react that way. No? So minsan nagkakamali po tayo ng bigay ng intervention or kahit ng simpleng tayo lang, yung self, initiated intervention, kasi hindi natin alam kung saan galing. So pwede naman po yun na ipa-assess para malaman natin yung kung mga talagang alam yung parang sobra-sobra na kasi ang hindi na ito natural, hindi na nga siya na-cover ng mga napag-usapan dito ngayong hapon, no? Then that calls for siguro baka mas maganda at i-ano na siya, i-assess. Okay? Yun po. Meron pa ba? Teacher Lois, alam ko meron po tungkol sa doable strategies. Hindi. Nasagot ko na to yung tips for a stubborn child. Ito yon pala. Si Mommy Eleanor. Yun po yung sagot ko. Yung sinagot ko.
Can I just ask a question po from YouTube? Hindi ko alam if nanonood pa po yung,
Yes.
yung faculty sa YouTube. Yung tanong po niya ay, can you hear me po? I think yung isang tanong po sa YouTube ay how do we address increased screen time naman for parents? Kasi yun po talaga yung problema. Kasi you're a learning partner. So in the morning, kasi napansin ko po, may mga nag-request po kasi na hapon po ito gawin. Kasi sa umaga daw yung classes ng anak nila. So learning partner ka in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you do your work, you're in front of the screen, and then sa gabi, nagkik-drama ka ganyan. So there's just screen time the whole day.
Parang ako yung K-drama.
So how do we address din po this increased screen time for parents? Kasi it's definitely not healthy.
Kasi, well, prior to pandemic, sinasabi na yun na screen time, increase in screen time of parents is actually positively correlated with increased screen time of children. Okay? So, but then ngayon nga na marami, siguro pwede nating i-apply din kung ano yung para sa mga bata, di ba? You have, as parents, or as individuals, no, we have to be conscious about the time we spend. No, monitoring is important kasi and it's effective na you monitor kung gaano kakatagal na nasa screen, may screen time at hindi, and then try to balance. No, balance na meron kang screen time, that's lalo na ngayon na mas maraming demand sa online meeting, di ba, yung mga virtual meetings. Tapos, so, ano ba yung screen time mo na pang work at ano yung screen time mo na pang recreational? Kasi di ba dati, walang masyadong screen time for work kasi we go out naman. So, but ngayon, mas dumagdag kasi may screen time for work and so, i-divide natin yun and more or less estimate, di ba sa telepono may mga screen time report. But anyway, consciously monitor kahit one time lang kung gaano katagal ka, i-compute mo gaano katagal yung screen time for work and screen time for relaxation and try to balance with off-screen kasi benepisyo rin yun ng family members if, di ba, you have off-screen activities. And then siguro, mas maganda rin for both children and parents na if you have screen time, yung malaki, like bonding, watching television. Kasi ang mas mahirap at mas tiring yung up close with the blue light, etc., di ba? So I think the best way na simple is monitor. And if you are a monitor, you can be more aware, you can be more conscious, and try to consciously balance. Malalabo na mata natin.
Dadagdagan ko lang, si
Sige po.
Teacher Lois, I'm sorry, pero isa sa mga questions kanina dun sa sinagot ko na um, sabi ko, may rason si Teacher Lois for saying na she's not for routine and she's for flexibility, lalo for younger children, kasi kailangan nila ng, physically to explore. Lalo na, dahil hindi naman sila ganun ka-expose sa gadgets, no? Na pag sinabi mong leisure or physical time nila, talagang pwede naman silang bigyan ng ganon. Hindi gaya ng older children, like yung children ko malala, as in, talagang may college ako, isang college
Okay.
isang ka-age ng anak ni Mami na grade 5 at isang graduate na nagtatrabaho din. And then I live with my mom also. So, kumbaga, parang minsan pag iniisip ko na hayaan mo na kung ano na lang gusto nila dahil pandemic ano naman na magagawa. Pero parang lalong gumugulo yung buhay ko pag walang routine. No, so talagang umuupo muna kami. Talagang we have family meetings, promise, corny man. Pero ginagawa talaga namin siya. Halos every 2 weeks we sit down just to evaluate the schedules of everyone. So sa ngayon, dahil pasimula na yung klase nung college ko at saka si Sam, ang UPIS, magsa-start na rin in October, no? So, magsisimula na kaming mag-post ng kanya-kanya naming schedules. Kasi, ang dami kasing ang daming nasusolve na problema. Yung sinasabi ko nga doon sa mas mahaba nating video posted on YouTube, ang isang nagagawa nun for children with special needs, and hindi lang naman for special needs na nakikita ko, no, kasi ginagawa ko rin siya, na ma-manage niya yung behaviors. So, yung mga malikot, napapaupo mo kasi, napapa-attend mo sila doon sa kung ano man yung task right now, napapa-focus mo sila, kasi part ng schedule nila. Yung problema doon sa mga ayaw sumunod, no, compliance, napapasunod mo sila. Bakit? Kasi alam mo na ang kasunod ng pagsusulat na yan na mahirap ay gadget time. 'Di ba? So kung nakaganon siya, parang ang thinking ng bata na ang consequence ay naku, hindi na ako makaka-gadget time pa kapag hindi ko pa ginawa to, no? So marami siya talagang help na itutulong, and at the same time yung screen time din. So by way na naka-schedule siya ng ganun, ang nangyayari like for us, for example, no, hindi ko dinagdagan yung hinihingi nila, humingi sila ng i-upgrade. Hindi ko ginawa yon. Ang sinabi ko, we have to share with the bandwidth. So, paano gagawin yon? Kung si Mami nagwe-webinar, ano ang ginagawa nyo? So, ito, yung today, nakaset na to yesterday. Ngayon lang sila nagwawala kasi sabi ko hanggang alas 5 So, kaya, pag may naririnig kayo, huwag nyo nang anuhin kasi tapos na yung napag-usapan namin. So, kumbaga, parang they know na ako ang may bandwidth ngayon. So, ano yung activities ninyo? Ayun silang tatlo, magkakasama sila, nagbabanding sila. Diba? So, that way, nalilimit din. Pag time naman nila, hindi na din ako makaka-K-drama ko. So, kailan ko ilalagay ang K-drama? No? So, nalilimit siya by itself kasi naka-schedule . So, hindi ka parang ganun na, ano ba, hindi ka na magaganon kasi routine na yon. At sila pa ang magaling mag-remind sa'yo niyan. Sasabihin nila, ma, remember, oras na for ganyan, sabi mo, ganyan. So, hindi ka na, di ba, walang nangyayaring magagalit ka or, magtatantrum ka rin. No? So, yun ang isang sigurong pwedeng gawing paraan para ma-limit din yung screen time natin. Kasi if it's available all the time, syempre, di ba, wala naman kasi tayong pwedeng gawin ngayon. Ano pa ba ang talagang masasabi natin pwedeng gawin? Wala masyado. So, okay lang. Siguro na lang, yun nga, parang at least kung ganon, parang equitable ang pagbigay ng oras for everything, including screen time.
Wow. Sobrang daming mga very useful tips, I think, for this evening. I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to say. or anything else you'd like to ask, baka po we can wrap this up in maybe 2 minutes. Okay lang po ba yun? Baka may final words na lang siguro po from each of our panelists po. Uy, maraming salamat ulit sa inyong tatlo I mean,
Thank you din, Sir Ton. Nag-enjoy ako.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Hindi ko alam.
Masaya. Pati yung comments, no? It's heartwarming na
Oo
they
nga.
laugh.
We're so grateful po. Thank you so much po. So, I guess, ano po, so, anything else you'd like to say? We can close this na. We can say
Parang nasabi ko na lang.
Sabi na, bye-bye. Goodbye and good luck to all of us.
Thank you po. Thank you din po sa sa mga estudyante ko lagi nagpapa-shout out. Spedida people, hello.
Okay, so to all parents out there and caregivers,
Yes po.
you're doing okay. We're doing okay.
Virtual hugs po. Okay lang po tayo. Kaya natin to. Let's go course packs.
Sige po, malapit na po magsimula yung SEM. Matatapos din po. Or
Kaya
not.
natin yan.
Sige po. Thank
Or
you
not.
po.
Thank you. Thank you everybody. Teacher Lois, Ma'am
Bye.
Shilin,
Thank you.
Sir Ton. Thank you
Thank you so much. You are the best.
Bye.
po.
Thank you.
Bye po. I will end this webinar na po in a bit. Thank you ulit, Teacher Los. Super.
Thank you.
We're very grateful to the three of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
God bless us all. Bye-bye. Stay
po.
safe and well, everybody. Bye.
Stay safe and well and keep learning, sabi ng Edo.
Okay.
Bye po.
Bye-bye. Leave na.
I-end ko na po ito Sige.
End na.
I-end ko lang po siya so I can capture the chat. Okay. Bye-bye.